In a sudden plane crash, I missed the critical window for treatment while trying to save my husband, Duan Jing, yet, he immediately turned around and gave the medical resources to another woman, Yan Shui. Qianer is a journalist, we're old classmates. After this rescue, she's sure to write a glowing report about me, which will be great for our company's reputation. You're so understanding, I know you'll get it. He watched me die from internal organ rupture. Then turned right around and obsessively revised the speech he was about to give for the press coverage. He achieved the fame he sought, but it was the worst kind. He became infamous. It was his own good classmate, Su Qian, who publicly exposed him, accusing him of scheming to seize his wife's fortune, an act that led to my grievous injury and death. When I opened my eyes again, I saw the plane's wreckage and Duan Jing. His face a picture of profound relief, but this time, he turned and shouted. Hurry, save my wife first. Seeing Duan Jing's frantic demeanor, I almost thought I was imagining it. Even now, I can still feel the internal agony from my last moments in my previous life. All I remember is the pain so severe I couldn't make a sound, with blood churning in my throat. Back then, Duan Jing kept his back to me, scribbling in a notebook with a pen while muttering to himself, "Thank you all for your concern this time." No, wait, thank you for your concern. He kept fine-tuning the speech he was about to deliver. Duan Jing was convinced that Su Qian would be grateful and sing his praises in the most heartfelt terms. Therefore, Duan Jing directed the medical team to see to Su Qian first. The original purpose of this flight was for us to jointly attend an overseas tender. Winning it would have sent our company's prospects skyrocketing. Tragically, the aircraft lost control and crashed mid-flight after colliding with a frenzied flock of birds. With a deafening roar, the plane plunged into the valley and shattered into pieces. I clung desperately to my seat, shielding Duan Jing beside me. He had taken motion sickness pills and was fast asleep. For his sake, even as I coughed up mouthfuls of blood, I gritted my teeth and bore the pain from being struck by debris. Survivors of the crash began searching for others. Of the more than 200 people on board, fewer than 10 survived. Yan Shui, are you alright? My left hand is killing me. Duan Jing came to after the impact. I turned my head and wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth. In that moment, I just felt numb, as if I were numb to the pain. We'll attend to you first. Ma'am, you took quite a blow back there. Check his hand first. My immediate thought was just how severe the injury to Duan Jing's hand was. Ma'am, your injury, then please, examine me first. My wife seems rather fatigued, let her recline and rest. Duan Jing put a jacket over my shoulders before guiding the medical team to the other side. Utterly spent, I collapsed against the plane's wreckage, a sharp, tearing pain shooting through my back and chest. It felt like my guts were being twisted. As I let my guard down, even the simple act of breathing became a struggle. A faint disturbance jolted me back to full awareness. It was Duan Jing's voice. My hand is fine, see to her first. She's a reporter, we can't afford for her to be seriously injured. The first thing I saw was Duan Jing's back. Across from him sat a woman, her hair slightly tousled, her fine brows knitted in a look that was both pitiful and charming. Duan Jing, I called out with effort, but he didn't hear me. It was the woman who noticed me instead. I'm fine, it's just a few scrapes, save the treatment for those who need it more. The woman's voice was clear and pleasant. How can you call that a minor injury? Your hand is the priority here. We need to treat it right away. Duan Jing's voice carried a hint of sharpness. I froze. My fingers had just brushed against the deep, jagged gash on my right cheek, and my hand came away warm and wet with blood. It must have been torn open by something sharp in the crash. This is more than just a scratch, isn't it? Quick, help my wife first. She's hurt badly. Duan Jing's voice cut through the fog in my mind, jolting me back to the present. A medic rushed to my side and began administering first aid. I can only treat the surface wounds for now. This woman seems to have severe internal injuries and needs immediate medical attention. Chapter 2. Why didn't Duan Jing come to Su Qian's rescue this time? I spotted Su Qian not far off, her face bearing a few scratches. Of all the survivors, her wounds were the most minor. I've already called for help. They'll be here in half an hour at the most. Yan Shui. Don't you dare leave me. We'll be saved in 30 minutes. Tops. Duan Jing looked frantic, his eyes fixed on me with deep concern. I pressed my lips together, remaining silent. In my past life, he always turned his back on me, even as I coughed up blood, teetering on the edge of death. He never once looked back, utterly consumed by his delusions of imminent glory. Yan Shui, say something. Duan Jing's hand shook as he attempted to smooth her tangled hair. The wound on her face is so deep, what are we going to do? What else can we do besides trying to stop the bleeding? The quaver in his voice felt almost otherworldly to me. This time, he didn't go to Su Qian. He made sure I got help right away and even saw the cut on my face. It was like everything from my past life was just a dream. But, was it really only a dream? I found a first aid kit over there. Can I help? Su Qian's voice grew closer as she approached, a first aid kit in hand, and came to a stop beside me. No, thanks, we don't need you here. Before the medical staff could even speak, Duan Jing's voice turned cold and hard, flatly refusing Su Qian. Su Qian paused, fixed Duan Jing with a stare for several seconds, then turned on his heel and left. I saw Duan Jing's fist clench tightly. He was fighting to hold himself back. Little did he know, however, that the flash of bitterness in his eyes hadn't gone unnoticed by me. I sighed to myself. That previous life was no dream. It appears Duan Jing has been reborn this time as well. He couldn't conceal his loathing for Su Qian, and I saw it plain as day. In my past life, the rescue team only arrived after I had died in agony. It was then that Duan Jing found me, curled up, clutching his jacket, already gone, hovering there in midair. I watched his expression shift from stifled excitement to vacant disbelief, before he gathered my lifeless form and wept with ragged, anguished sobs. Afterwards, the rescue team successfully escorted the remaining survivors to the hospital. Duan Jing was downcast, yet he forced a strained smile upon seeing Su Qian. I'm just glad you're okay, my wife. She wasn't so lucky, she passed before I did. Su Qian looked at him thoughtfully, gave a slight nod, and made to leave. My wife insisted they use the medical supplies on me first. Running into you was a surprise, but, we're old classmates, so I told the medics to tend to your injuries first. I never imagined that my wife would end up missing her chance for treatment because of it. As Duan Jing said this, God knows I actually felt like laughing at the time. He was the one who turned a blind eye to my suffering, reveling in his impending triumph. So how did Su Qian end up taking the fall? Are you pinning this on me? No, that's not what I meant, be that as it may. You're the one who fetched the medics to tend to my injury. I won't forget that. Su Qian gave Duan Jing a meaningful look, finally offering a faint smile. That's good, you've done well. Duan Jing heaved a sigh, but the hope in his eyes was so palpable it rendered me speechless. That was the first time I felt my devotion to Duan Jing was misplaced, though I never imagined the cost would be my life. Chapter 3, Yan Shui. You're going to be alright. Duan Jing gripped my hand tightly, pulling my thoughts back to the present. Looking down at my hand held in his, I was surprised to find an unexpected calm settling in my heart. Su Qian's gaze kept drifting our way, subtle yet unmistakable. I was certain she had been reborn as well. After all, in our past life, Su Qian's exposé utterly humiliated Duan Jing. His company went under, and he was nearly drowned in a sea of public scorn. Exactly. In her past life, Su Qian's report was indeed about Duan Jing. Unfortunately, she harshly accused him of neglecting his critically injured, dying wife in a bid to win public sympathy, instead focusing his attention and care on the reporter. Given that the company was jointly owned by the couple, people speculated that if his wife died, the company would. It all gave rise to endless speculation. News of the air disaster was already sensational enough, but Su Qian's accusations further inflamed public outrage. That single report made Su Qian famous. While it ruined Duan Jing's reputation, he couldn't even hold on to his business at home, let alone win contracts abroad. What use is a man with no honor? In that plane crash, he lost not only his wife and his career, but was also branded with an indelible, shameful reputation, a man who traded his wife's life for fame. Yet, after Duan Jing hit rock bottom, Su Qian began appearing by his side constantly. I witnessed the whole thing. Su Qian is the woman who destroyed Duan Jing. Yet she also wants to own him. Driven by an obsessive need for control, she used extreme measures to break a man, only to return posing as his savior. In the end, Duan Jing chose to accept her, but he took her with him and jumped from the rooftop of the television broadcast tower. And then, I returned to the day of the plane crash. I think they've come back too. Don't worry, I'll always be here. Duan Jing noticed my gaze and offered a gentle smile, his eyes steady and calm. I leaned lightly against him, the sound of his heartbeat filling my ears. If not for the events of my past life, I imagine at this very moment, I would have been moved to tears, certain he was my destined love. What a shame, but in this life, I no longer wished to be with him. Getting prompt medical care is what saved my life. The gash on my right cheek was pretty deep, though, so a scar was unavoidable. Duan Jing was incredibly attentive during my recovery, hardly ever wanting to leave my side. The hospital staff couldn't stop praising him. Your husband is so wonderful to you, not like mine. He couldn't be bothered to visit me for over 3 days after my surgery. A woman in the hospital room was pouring her heart out to me. Duan Jing had wanted to put me in a private room, but I turned it down. I had been checking the news alerts on my phone. The media is all over this air disaster. It's a massive story. And they've already begun interviewing survivors. They're going down the list. So Duan Jing will be up soon. I took a sip of water. The cool liquid soothed my parched lips, bringing a faint sting and the metallic tang of blood. Duan Jing's life is considered a success, largely due to the sterling reputation he has cultivated in recent years. To the public, he is the image of a devoted husband, who stood by and tenderly cared for his wife after a plane crash left her disfigured. How are you feeling today? I made some snow fungus and pear soup. I kept it light on the sugar. Here, try some. The one we've been waiting for is finally here. Duan Jing carried a thermos, his hair slightly damp and his clothes dotted with water stains. Yet, it was a perfectly clear, sunny day. Chapter 4. I watched as he served me a bowl of snow fungus soup and carefully tested its warmth. You're so attentive to your wife, young man. I must say, I'm rather envious. The older woman couldn't help but remark, sis. You're the one who said it. She's my wife. Of course I'm going to be extra concerned about her. Duan Jing chuckled, unable to hide the joy on his face. Yan Shui. It seems every cloud has a silver lining. Because of the air disaster, several major clients have reached out to the company in quick succession. Reporters will probably come for interviews tomorrow. Would that be convenient for you? Actually, never mind. I'll have them come to the office instead. We shouldn't disturb your recovery. No wonder he seemed especially cheerful today. The TV station is coming. Does that mean I'll be on TV too? I don't mind at all, sweetheart. The lady next to me was even more excited than I was. In that case, you can come here tomorrow. I finished my white fungus soup and spoke softly. Don't worry, it won't be long. I shouldn't keep my wife from her rest much longer. Duan Jing gave my hand a gentle pat. I knew his thoughts had already raced ahead to tomorrow's television interview, and so, in a scene that must have appeared heartwarming to onlookers, Duan Jing and I were each adrift in our own thoughts. The more I dwelled on it, the sadder it felt. Duan Jing was there first thing the next morning, with breakfast and some fruit in hand. It was time to change the dressing on my face. Even stitched shut, the 6-centimeter gash looked gruesome. A face is only so big. This scar, running from the bridge of my nose to the corner of my mouth, had pulled my features out of shape after being sewn up. This was my first time seeing my injured face. It felt like a sharp blade had been driven straight through my heart. No woman could accept her face being disfigured like this, no matter how strong-willed she was. This wound is so glaring and horrifying, and this is after it's been stitched up. The mangled, bloody mess from my past life must have been even more terrifying, right? Yet Duan Jing actually chose to leave me there and went to help Su Qian first. Is it time to change the dressing already? Duan Jing stared at my wound, lost in thought. What's wrong? Is it ugly? I wanted to smile, but moving my face was a bit difficult right now. Let me get a proper look. It's heartbreaking to see you in this state. Duan Jing stopped the nurse from treating me further. He asked her to go and help the woman in the next bed change her bandages first. In his eyes, I saw my own reflection, pale, frail, disfigured by the crude, stitched gash. Even though I'd seen myself in the mirror before, witnessing my own face through his gaze now sent a sharp, wrenching pain through my heart. It's all clear to me now. There are some things I can't afford to delay any longer. Let me get her bandaged up first, right here. The TV crew is here. Someone suddenly yelled from outside the door. Duan Jing sprang to his feet and spun around to look at the entrance, but he seemed to remember something. He only managed a few steps, accidentally blocking the nurse who was about to redress my wound. In those few seconds, the people from the television station had already entered the ward. The camera was trained right on my face, the lens freezing my deathly pallor and the horrifying, gruesome wound. In this aviation tragedy, Mr. Duan Jing's steadfast devotion to his wife, the introduction flashed by, and the reporter was none other than Su Qian herself. Chapter 5. She was desperate for everyone to see my horrifying state. directing the camera as if she wanted to shove it right in my face. "Let me through, now." The nurse, somewhat annoyed, pushed her way to my side and efficiently changed the bandage. Honestly, shoving a camera right in someone's face. "Where are your manners?" Before leaving, the nurse shot Duan Jing a resentful glare. Looking at him, my resolve to leave grew even more urgent. Even in this new life, Duan Jing exploited me to the fullest, but this time, he reaped only a sterling reputation. I was right not to hold out hope for him to change. "You must be exhausted, get some rest. I'll see the TV crew out." Duan Jing adjusted my bed to make me more comfortable. I closed my eyes. "Go on, see the TV crew out, and say goodbye to Su Qian." That night, I saw myself on the news, under the high-definition camera. I looked absolutely dreadful. Next to Su Qian, who was speaking so eloquently, I felt like a resentful ghost skulking in the shadows. I also noticed that throughout their interaction, Duan Jing and Su Qian kept exchanging glances, hinting at some inexplicable undercurrent between them. I figured that since Duan Jing had hated Su Qian so much in his past life, he probably wouldn't get tangled up with her again. I'm afraid that doesn't seem to be the case. I lost my parents when I was young, and 2 years ago, his parents both died in a car accident, so, we've only had each other to depend on. I see us as 2 nylon ropes supporting a huge weight. If one breaks, the other won't hold for long either. I believed we would be each other's lifelong support. That's precisely why I've always been so accommodating. Yet I never dreamed my own consideration and maturity would turn into my Achilles heel. Shui. The interview went brilliantly. I'll likely be quite tied up for the next few days, but I've arranged for the finest caregiver to attend to you. Please just concentrate on getting well. Love you." I got a message from Duan Jing at 9 in the evening. I stared at the chat window, unable to snap out of my daze. I know this company inside and out. He and I built it from the ground up. There's nothing going on that I'm not aware of. Sure enough, my assistant messaged me the next second. "Yen, I saw your interview today. Your injuries look serious. Please rest up and get well soon. We're all waiting for you to come back. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Duan just brought a TV crew into the office." The photo she sent made my fingers involuntarily clutch the bedsheet. What on earth is so urgent that he needs to bring reporters into the office at 9 in the evening? And the reporter was none other than Su Qian. After a long moment of thought, I finally dialed a number. "Hello, Uncle Han. I'll listen to you. Once I leave this time, I won't be coming back. In this lifetime, I'll live a more fulfilling life on my own than I ever could with Duan Jing. At the very least, I won't be constantly manipulated by him." Looking back on it all sends a shiver down my spine. It was only in that life and death moment of my past life that I finally saw the truth. In Duan Jing's heart, I never really mattered. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. The caregiver was incredibly kind and efficient in everything she did. "Ms. Yen, it's only been a week. Are you certain you need to be discharged?" Over the past week, Duan Jing only came to the hospital twice, and each visit was no longer than half an hour. "Shui, this is absolutely a pivotal moment for the company. If we can seize it, we'll be set for life. We could just lie back and count our money for fun." Shui, whenever I think about the better life you and I will have in the future, I don't feel tired at all. Shui, you really get me. I knew you'd understand. Once you're better, I'll set work aside for a bit, and it'll just be the 2 of us." Every time, his words rang so true, and every time, he walked away without looking back. As luck would have it, I had a little time to get my papers sorted, and Uncle Han was already waiting for me outside. "Sis, there are still 3 days left on your schedule. Just think of it as me recovering perfectly here in the hospital. I'll pay you for the full shift. Of course, why don't you head home and spend some quality time with your kid? Don't worry about me." The caregiver's son had been sick, and she hadn't had a chance to go home and check on him. Hearing my offer, she seemed to hesitate. "It's fine, I'll sort things out with Duan Jing." I had my mask on and was already changed into my clothes. "Oh, well, thank you, Miss Yen, I'll see you out." The caregiver began collecting my other things. "That's all right. Please keep anything here that you might find useful." I glanced at the nutritional supplements and the massage device Duan Jing had sent over. All of it was top of the line. A gift from a heartless person isn't worth holding on to. "Oh, thank you, dear. You young folks certainly recover your spirits quickly." The woman in the neighboring bed thanked me with a broad, beaming smile. After saying goodbye to the nursing assistant at the hospital entrance, I saw Uncle Han already waiting for me a short distance away. "Miss, everything is ready." Uncle Han gave me a nod. a sudden wave of weakness washed over me. After being confined to bed for days, the simple effort of walking left me with an indescribable exhaustion. Steady now. Oh, your health is so fragile. We must see you properly rested and recovered once we're back. Uncle Han took a firm hold of my arm to steady me and helped me into the car. My phone stayed silent as I walked out of the hospital. It was like Duan Jing had completely forgotten about me. 3 days later, the nurse's call came completely out of the blue. By then, I was already at the overseas estate, swamped with paperwork. I was completely stunned. The couple who had raised me for 24 years weren't my birth parents, they were just the gardeners employed by my real family. I had been kidnapped by that gardener couple. Their own son had been caught stealing by my parents. In his shame, he ended his own life right there on the estate grounds, and so, through no fault of my own, disaster struck. Before I was even 3, I was taken back to their home country by the gardener and his wife. No wonder I always felt my parents didn't love me. Even though I was their only child, they were quick to hit or scold me, always saying that when I turned 18, I would finally prove my usefulness, but I was determined to make something of myself. Being quite independent, I started planning for my future early on. The only wild card was Duan Jing. Chapter 7. I met him in college, back when my adoptive parents were pushing me to quit school and fall in line with their plans. It's only now that I've come to realize what turning 18 really means. Luckily, I went straight to university, paid my own way, and had no plans to go back and let my adoptive parents run my life. So, later on, Duan Jing helped me out a few times, and that's when I slowly began to feel differently about him. Once I knew my own heart, I never considered leaving him, no matter how difficult the startup journey became. Looking back, if I hadn't experienced that crash, I don't know what would have become of me. The only thing I'm certain of is that I would have ended up as nothing more than a stepping stone for Duan Jing's success. Miss Yen, I can't handle this on my end. Duan, Yen Shui, you promised you wouldn't leave me. Duan Jing's sudden, furious roar over the phone jolted me from my reverie, snapping me back to reality. Right, I've already died once, I really shouldn't be dwelling on the past. What matters most now is to live freely and comfortably. I don't believe you would betray me. Duan Jing's voice was laced with pain. I was confused. How could I be the one who betrayed us? You'd really run off with some old man and just abandon me. I was working my fingers to the bone for our future. My phone buzzed with a few messages. It was just a few photos of Uncle Han and me. They were snapped at the hospital entrance when he came to give me a lift and a helping hand. But the angle was so deliberately framed. It looked like I was practically leaping into his arms. This kind of cheap shot. I think I know who's behind the camera. So you're telling me these few photos are your proof that I ran off with him? He knows my character perfectly well. Him confronting me now is nothing but a ploy to soothe his own guilty conscience. Shui, after all the struggles we've weathered together and with the company finally flourishing, are you truly set on leaving me? Duan Jing's voice was thick with incredulity. Had I not been holding that hefty pile of photos of him with Su Qian, I might have fallen for it. The minute I left the country, I had someone watch Duan Jing. To my shock, while I was still laid up in the hospital, he was already messing around with Su Qian. The two of them, picking right back up on their love-hate drama from a past life, became completely inseparable. After all, in the short time I was away, Duan Jing didn't even spare a thought for me, his actual girlfriend, Duan Jing. Don't you dare try to pin some nasty label on me, even if I were injured and disfigured. For you, as my boyfriend, to be this dismissive and not even show up, you should look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're the one who's been unfaithful. I paused for a moment, but there's no point in explaining now. After all, we've already broken up. I stared at the completely empty photo album on my phone. Every single memory of him was wiped clean in less than half an hour. For a moment, I felt completely disoriented. Shui, you're just upset and lashing out, aren't you? I've mostly got the company under control lately, and I won't meddle in whatever's going on between you and that old man. I'll be waiting for you at home. I'm really craving your braised pork trotters over rice. Duan Jing's voice suddenly softened, just like it used to when he'd whisper I love you in my ear, day after day. That won't be necessary. I'm sure Su Qian's feet taste far better than my pork trotters, don't you think? I snorted in contempt and slammed the phone down. I have no clue how those investigators got hold of such personal pictures. What followed was a complete whirlwind. If my adoptive parents hadn't died young, I likely never would have met my birth parents in this life. They brought it on themselves. Honestly, that pair wanted it all. Their greed came back to bite them, sparking the suspicions that ended up leading them right to me. To treat the injuries on my face, my parents assembled a top-tier medical team to conduct specialized research on my behalf, leading to a total transformation. It felt like shedding a layer of grime, uncovering a more beautiful self beneath. Meanwhile, I twirled the pen in my hand and circled the company's address. What's mine stays mine. Chapter 8, Miss. For your return home, you'll be staying directly at the hotel arranged by Madam. Uncle Han helped me with my suitcase. Having served as a butler for an aristocratic family for 30 years, the air about him was completely different from that of an ordinary person. I adjusted my sunglasses. What a coincidence. Isn't this the very hotel where Duan Jing and Su Qian are getting married? My mother must have found out about the situation between Duan Jing and me. That's why she called me back to the country at this exact moment to handle some business. Uncle Han, just make the arrangements as you see fit. I gave a slight nod. In just 2 months, I had been completely reborn, transformed. My words and actions were now graceful and composed. I no longer have to worry about others judging my work with a critical eye, scrutinizing whether it's perfect or not. As for the company Duan Jing and I co-founded, after I left, he completely erased any trace of my involvement and brought Su Qian in to get familiar with the operations. Although my few loyal supporters were indignant on my behalf, they held their ground, all because I vowed to come back and reclaim what was rightfully mine. That's why they willingly became my informants. The evidence I've gathered on Duan Jing is enough to put him behind bars for a very, very long time. As a journalist, Su Qian is no stranger to shady tactics, compared to mere disgrace. She should probably be more worried about whether she'll make it out alive. After all, having that many enemies come knocking at once is no laughing matter. That's why I made a point of delivering my gift on the very day of their wedding. Pathetic, isn't it? Duan Jing and I were together for 7 years, yet he married Su Qian after just 2 or 3 months. A wedding today, huh? Let's see if their fates are strong enough to handle it. I looked at the wedding photo of Duan Jing and Su Qian embracing each other in the reception hall. Even though her dress was a loose-fitting style, I could still tell her pregnancy was starting to show. Thank you all for coming to celebrate the marriage of Mr. Duan Jing, and the master of ceremonies was in full flow. But just as he asked the bride if she was willing, I hurled my wine glass at Su Qian's feet. The spotlight hit me, and I slowly took off my sunglasses. I refuse. My lips parted, and the sound of my voice made Duan Jing's eyes go wide. He stared at me as if he'd seen a ghost. Yan Shui, is that really you? My voice remains the same, but this face has undergone a complete transformation compared to before. Su Qian's pristine white wedding dress was stained with red wine from the glass I shattered. How dare you show your face? You abandoned the man who took such good care of you, ran off with that old man, and now you have the nerve to come back on his wedding day. Su Qian stared daggers at me, and the words she spat out sent a wave of murmurs through the onlooking crowd. Typical reporter, a few choice words and you painted me as the villain who dumped a good man. But are your own hands really that clean? Some journalists will do absolutely anything to get a juicy story. The sweet wedding photo on the hotel's big screen suddenly switched to a much more intimate shot. I was considerate enough to blur it, of course, leaving only Su Qian's face clearly visible. In an instant, Duan Jing's face turned a sickly shade of green, like a turtle that's been dead for 3 days. The way his gaze lingered on Su Qian's stomach said it all. A silent, unmistakable message. Duan Jing, my feelings for you are real, so you're not denying any of it happened, I said with a smile, cutting straight to the heart of the matter. Duan Jing's face was ashen, his eyes fixed on me with an unblinking stare. Yan Shui, you were the one who broke up with me. Why are you making such a scene now? You never denied that you left me for that old man while we were still together, did you? I simply looked back at him, my expression calm. This man, whom I once loved to the very marrow of my bones, for whom I willingly gave everything, now he's protecting another woman, a woman who, in a past life, ruined him utterly and left him to die in disgrace. Then I hope the child in her belly is truly yours. I smiled. A bright, brittle smile. Chapter 9. Su Qian's face paled slightly, and she nervously placed a hand on her stomach. Just then, a group of menacing men burst in. After a quick scan of the room, their gazes locked directly onto Su Qian's face. That bitch is the one who wheedled information out of the boss and got him in trouble. A crowd of people suddenly swarmed in, throwing the scene into complete chaos. Duan Jing was stunned by what he saw. It finally dawned on him that Su Qian was fiercely ambitious, willing to use any means necessary to dig up information for her reports, and her own body was her greatest asset. I just leaked a bit of information, revealing Su Qian's disguise. A whole crowd showed up at her door. Just goes to show how many enemies she's made over the years. Duan Jing completely broke down when a pot-bellied man roared and slammed a stack of prenatal reports into Su Qian's face. Yan Shui, you knew all along. Didn't you? If you couldn't let me go, why didn't you come back sooner? Why did you have to show up now? Of all times, she's the one who seduced me. I just made a little mistake, the kind any man could make. Duan Jing suddenly rushed over, trying to grab my hand. You don't have to drag all men down with you. Decent men get a pretty raw deal. I scoffed and swiftly dodged his grasp. He seemed to forget he was still the star of this wedding banquet. The groom's red ceremonial flower still pinned to his chest, and just so we're clear, I didn't come back because I can't get over you. I said I'd take back what's mine if I wanted it, and I meant it. The moment the words left his mouth, Duan Jing's phone began to ring. Caught between dealing with Su Qian and answering the call, his phone was accidentally knocked from his hand by her, hitting the floor and switching to speakerphone. Duan Jing, have you lost your mind? You're using the company as collateral to invest in a pig butchering scam. What about the rest of us? Without Yan Shui, you're nothing. I recognized that voice. It was old Ma, one of the shareholders and a former technical lead. Back in the day, I was the one learning from him at the company. Duan Jing thought technical roles were a waste of time, so he never paid any attention to that side of the business. Let me tell you something now. The company's assets are frozen. Forget about pulling money out, you can't even fucking pay the staff, and you had the nerve to take Yan Shui's share too. Duan Jing turned deathly pale. The look he gave me was full of chagrin, as if he was mortified to have this disgraceful behavior exposed in front of everyone. I couldn't care less. We were in love once. It's true. The pity is, he always wanted something better, not to share it with me, but to have it all for himself. Hey. Isn't that the young man we met in the hospital after that plane crash? You're getting married. I was at the banquet next door and heard all the commotion, so I came to take a look. A woman pushed her way through the crowd, her booming voice instantly drawing my attention. Why isn't the bride that girl from the hospital, the one in the wedding dress? Isn't she that reporter who came to interview us the other day? The eldest sister looked utterly bewildered. Her uncle was the one who picked her up from the hospital. You're not much of a boyfriend, are you? You never even came to visit her after your interview. She was hurt so badly, especially her face. Can you imagine how awful she must have felt? No wonder she kept it from you and checked out early. I watched as Duan Jing's expression shifted through a whirlwind of emotions, until finally, he dropped to his knees with a thud right in front of me. I'm sorry, Yan Shui. I shouldn't have believed what Su Qian said, thinking you'd run off with some old man without a shred of dignity. I simply stepped aside. Su Qian, like a human cannonball, was shoved by the others right into Duan Jing. I only heard Duan Jing's agonized scream before seeing the stiletto heel of Su Qian's shoe firmly embedded in the back of his right hand. Chapter 10. I slipped away in the chaos of that whole fiasco. Good thing I'd slipped the hotel staff a little red envelope to borrow their computer, otherwise, how could that spectacular footage have ended up playing on the big screen? 3 days later, Uncle Han and I showed up at the company. Old Ma was already there waiting for me. Duan Jing was there too, looking haggard, his right arm in a sling, talking to old Ma. Well, speak of the devil, look who's here, our new boss has arrived. Old Ma's voice rang out, laced with playful sarcasm. Uncle Han walked ahead of me, with me trailing 2 steps behind. You, aren't you that person, Mr. Yan? You're finally here. Now that the company is back in your hands, I can truly relax and enjoy my trip to the Maldives. Old Ma greeted me with a hearty laugh. When I appeared before Duan Jing, stepping out from behind Uncle Han, he stared at me like a fool, his face a mask of utter shock. As for Su Qian, after the hotel wedding incident, that group of people tore her reputation to shreds. It was later exposed that she had been repeatedly involved in privacy violations with multiple parties and illicit profiteering involving vast sums of money. Before she could even be sentenced, she jumped from the roof of the television station. The way she died was exactly the same as in her past life. It's a shame she was alone this time. No, wait. She took the child in her womb with her. Surprised, I raised an eyebrow. Watching Duan Jing's stunned expression, our office was on the 33rd floor, the top floor. Back then, Duan Jing and I only decided to rent this place because the rent was cheap. Now, exactly 3 years later, the lease is up. Yan Shui, please give me another chance. I promise I'll listen to you this time. Duan Jing's eyes were fixed on me, pleading with me for the first time, having shed all his pride. But I've already died once. My heart died in my last life. I can't make peace with the version of myself who died so tragically in my past life. Yan Shui, are you really this heartless? I'll jump from here, I swear, and you can forget about keeping this company. Perhaps seeing my lack of reaction, Duan Jing suddenly became agitated and rushed towards the operable vent window. I was left utterly speechless by his ridiculous stunt. Uncle Han stared at Duan Jing expressionlessly, while old Ma simply turned his head away. Only Duan Jing was looking at me with eager, pleading eyes. Duan Jing, you know what? I quickly closed the distance between us by a few steps. Su Qian jumped from the roof of the TV station. Duan Jing shook his head dismissively. I don't care about a woman like that. Did you even hear what I just said? But wasn't it you who jumped with her in your last life? I cut him off. Duan Jing let out a strange, strangled sound, like a duck being choked. The look he gave me was a mixture of sheer terror and bitter regret. In the end, the security guards dragged Duan Jing out like a dead dog. In his past life, consumed by hatred, he had been able to drag Su Qian to her death in a leap from a building. This time, with only himself to face the consequences, his courage suddenly deserted him. What awaited him certainly wouldn't be pleasant. Alright, let's get back on track. Starting today, I am taking over as the head of the company. This afternoon, the finance department will arrange for everyone's salaries to be paid. As an apology, we will issue an additional month's pay. I clapped my hands to draw everyone's attention to me. As soon as the words were spoken, the entire floor erupted in cheers. Duan Jing, did you hear that? The final victory is mine. Story 2. In my previous life, my sister forced me to marry an ugly and poor gangster. As a result, 10 years later, the gangster became a stock god with a net worth of tens of billions. And I also enjoyed wealth. After her rebirth, the elder sister grabbed the gangster's hand first and was determined to marry him at all costs. But she didn't know, the real stock god is me. Her man can't do anything and is just a puppet I put on the stage. When I was reborn, I was in a dimly lit gymnastics equipment room. The figure in front of me is my husband from my previous life, Zhao Xian. He tore off my clothes and put his face close to my neck. I feel weak all over. In the midst of the chaos, I struggled to realize that time had gone back and I was 17 years old again, back to the day when my sister Qi Yunyun drugged me. As I watched my clothes being completely torn off by Zhao Xian, the door of the gym was suddenly knocked open from the outside. A man rushed in. It's Qi Yunyun. She seemed to have run all the way here. Her hair stuck to her face with sweat. She didn't bother to tidy it up and came up to hug Zhao Xian tightly. Xian, don't be with her, you are mine. It suddenly dawned on me, Qi Yunyun and I were reborn together, too. In the previous life, Qi Yunyun liked the school hunk, but the school hunk wrote me a love letter. Qi Yunyun was jealous and crazy, so she drugged me and forced me to marry Zhao Xian, the worst gangster in the school. As a result, more than 10 years later, Zhao Xian became the Q god, a tycoon in the investment industry with a net worth of tens of billions, and I also became a wealthy wife enjoying all the glory. I wear rare Hermes leather every day and drive a Rolls-Royce worth more than 7 million when I go out. Everyone envied me. They said, Xiao Yu really married a good husband. When Zhao Xian was down and out, Xiao Yu recognized a hero with your keen eye. Now it's Xiao Yu's turn to enjoy the good life. Qi Yunyun's rich second-generation husband had long since fallen into poverty and became a debtor. He even tried to curry favor with Zhao Xian and said, brother-in-law, you must be Q god, right? I really admire you. Can you guide me when I invest? Every time Qi Yunyun looked at me, there was uncontrollable jealousy and deep regret in her eyes. Sure enough, at a family gathering, after Zhao Xian said he wanted to go to the bathroom, I saw Qi Yunyun following him in the corner. I walked into the dark corner of the corridor and heard my sister's drunken voice through the thin door. Ah Xian. It was obviously me that you liked back then. The sister hugged Zhao Xian and tried to kiss him. Zhao Xian took a deep breath and pushed his sister away. He said stiffly, that was more than 10 years ago. My sister fell to the ground, still crying and shouting, have you forgotten that you brought me breakfast every day, took me out on your bike, and said that I would always be your goddess, you would agree to do anything I asked you to do. Xian, you were supposed to be mine. Zhao Xian ignored his sister. He tidied up his clothes that were messed up by his sister and hurried out of the door. The expression was as if he was facing a plague that he could not avoid. My sister lost all hope and sat dejectedly on the cold floor of the bathroom. I pushed open the bathroom door, lowered my eyes to look at her, and said in a cold tone, "Don't sit here. Those who know you failed to seduce your brother-in-law, and those who don't know you will think you are acting in a youth pain movie here." Qi Yunyun suddenly raised her head and looked at me, her eyes full of hatred. "Why is it you, Qi Xiaoyu? How can you compare to me? Why is it you who got married into a wealthy family now?" I shook her hand off coldly. "Sister, you have to understand that the reason Zhao Xian and I are together is because of you. Now that you see Zhao Xian has become successful, do you regret it?" "Unfortunately, it's too late." My sister stared at me fiercely, and after a moment, she shook her head and smiled viciously. "Xiaoyu, you are wrong. It is not too late." At first, I didn't understand the meaning of that sentence, but at this moment, looking at my 17-year-old body, I understand. Qi Yunyun might be bound to some kind of system, taking me back to the age of 17, living her life over again. She wants to win back the man who should belong to her. At this moment, in the sports equipment room, Zhao Xian was breathing heavily. He looked at me. Qi Yunyun forced Zhao Xian's head to straighten, forcing him to look at her instead of me. "Xian, I love you." She took the initiative to kiss him. I struggled to get up and stumbled out. Thank God, thanks to Qi Yunyun. I never dreamed that I could start over again and escape from this nightmare, in the previous life. Qi Yunyun gave Zhao Xian and I drugged drinks and locked us in the sports equipment room. Then he brought his parents and neighbors to catch the adulterer. The neighbors witnessed Zhao Xian and I in dishevel. My parents felt humiliated and determined that no other man would want me in this life, so they forced me to marry Zhao Xian. When I refused, they imprisoned me at home, deprived me of food and water, and beat me every day. At that time, Qi Yunyun was crying and persuading her, "Sister, just marry Zhao Xian, otherwise, for the sake of our family's reputation, I will have to beat you to death." Finally, I was dying and was forced to marry Zhao Xian. Later, even though I was very wealthy, this incident cast a shadow over my life. Now, I have finally escaped from this shadow. 3. Qi Yunyun came back during dinner. As soon as she entered the door, she couldn't wait to announce that she was going to marry Zhao Xian. When my parents heard this, they couldn't even hold the chopsticks. "Yunyun, why is this? Zhao Xian has been held back for a long time. He is still repeating a grade in his 20s. How can he be worthy of you?" Qi Yunyun shook her head and said affirmatively, "Dad, Mom, I assure you that Zhao Xian is just down and out now, but he will definitely be very successful in the future." How could my parents believe this? They tried to persuade me even harder, and my mom even started to cry. Finally, Qi Yunyun was so annoyed that she shouted, "It's useless for you to stop me. I'm already Zhao Xian's man." My parents were shocked. Seeing her parents' shocked and desperate faces, Qi Yunyun smiled calmly. She sat next to her parents, put her arms around their shoulders affectionately, and spoke to comfort them. "Dad, Mom, you have to believe in your daughter. I told Dad not to do business with Uncle Lu and Mom not to go to the clinic in the East for treatment. But now it's been revealed that Uncle Lu ran away with the money and that the Black Clinic had a medical accident. Look, everything I say will come true. Since I was a child, the fortune teller said I was a lucky star. Have you forgotten?" After Qi Yunyun finished speaking, her parents' expressions became much more relaxed. She further advised, "So, you should also trust my judgment of men. Zhao Xian is a man with great fortune. We will have plenty to enjoy in the future." My mother was the first to be moved. "Really?" Qi Yunyun smiled and said, "How could it be false?" Dad also gradually took Qi Yunyun's confidence seriously. He even began to worry in advance. "If Zhao Xian becomes successful, will he make you angry?" Qi Yunyun smiled calmly and said, "No, Zhao Xian is a man who dotes on his wife. She must have remembered her past life." After Zhao Xian's Q-god identity was exposed, there were a lot of young beauties who wanted to hit on him. But he always looked straight at me and treated me, his original wife, better and better. He took the initiative to open the car door for me when getting in and out of the car, and served me the food when eating. He didn't dare to go west if I said east. Although Qi Yunyun's rich second-generation husband was heavily in debt, it did not stop him from staring at girls with good figures on the street. Comparing the two, it's no wonder that Qi Yunyun's eyes were so red with envy at this moment. Listening to Qi Yunyun praising Zhao Xian to her parents, I buried my head in my food, pretending not to hear. Unexpectedly, even though I didn't want to pay attention to Chi Yunyun, she still came up to show off her presence in front of me. That night, Chi Yunyun pushed open the door of my room. She stared at me who was concentrating on doing my homework and sneered, "Chi Xiaoyu. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking, you don't say anything on the surface. But in fact you've been thinking about how to get Zhao Xian back, am I right? How should I put it? Given my sister's situation, I'm embarrassed to admit that we have the same mother, but I am very happy that she misunderstood me like this. Let Zhao Xian attract all her attention. Only in this way will she not compete with me for the really important things." Chi Yunyun walked over to me while talking. She twisted my chin and forced me to look at the mirror next to me. "I advise you not to waste your energy, look at your condition. If I take action, how can you possibly defeat me?" The mirror showed a dark and thin girl, wearing thick-framed glasses and an old-school uniform that looked like a sack. Chi Yunyun next to her has a face as white as jade, smooth black hair, and is wearing the latest mini-skirt of the season. She is a beautiful girl who will definitely attract people's attention when she walks on the street. It's true that I'm not as pretty as Chi Yunyun, and my parents are partial to her and give the best food and clothes to Chi Yunyun, which makes me malnourished and pale, and the gap is even more obvious. Look at you like this. Do you really think there will be boys who like you? In my ear, Chi Yunyun was still mocking me relentlessly, as if she wanted to vent all the grievances she had suffered in her previous life. Zhao Xian was originally my bootlicker. He married you because he couldn't lick me in his previous life. I won't give you another chance this time. When I reach the age, I will get married to him immediately. When he becomes Q God, half of all his wealth will belong to me. Chi Yunyun's eyes were shining as she said this. Yes, Q God had billions of assets at his peak, and he could get half of it in the divorce, which would be enough for him to live a luxurious life and date little girls for the rest of his life. I twirled the pen in my hand and lowered my head deeply. Chi Yunyun thought I was hit by her, but in fact, I lowered my head just to hide the smile on my lips. Dear sister, I love your contempt for me. It is precisely because of this deep-rooted contempt that even if you were reborn 10,000 times, you would never have thought that the real Q God is me. Yes, I am the big boss who started from scratch with wisdom, courage and luck. First, I won huge amounts of money in the stock market, and then I invested heavily in Bitcoin at the best time, completely realizing financial freedom. Since my SMUF ID on the investment forum is QWERTY, which is casually typed on the keyboard, I am called Q God. Too many people are curious about Q God's true identity, and I know I can't always hide behind the scenes, so I pushed Zhao Xian to the front of the stage and made him my puppet. In other words, a scapegoat. After all, our circle is full of ups and downs. Being suddenly rich will make you the target of everyone's jealousy, and being suddenly poor will breed many desperate criminals. During those years, Zhao Xian was kidnapped 3 times and beaten by his enemies 4 times. When he went back with me to visit his relatives, he had just been beaten and one of his ribs was broken. This is why when Chi Yunyun hugged him, he not only gasped but also pushed her away. But even if he endured all the attacks on stage, Zhao Xian would never dare to tell the truth. He dare not offend me. As a puppet, at least he can still enjoy glory. Without me, he is truly nothing. At this moment, I looked at Chi Yunyun, who was kept in the dark, and gave her a sincere smile. Sister, I whispered, I wish you and Zhao Xian a long and happy marriage. Go ahead and bind him. I will do well in the college entrance examination, save money, go to university in Beijing, and leave this home forever. 4. I sincerely hope that Zhao Xian can be together well with Chi Yunyun. However, after school, I was stopped by Zhao Xian. He rode his bike across from me and whistled at me like a gangster. Xiaoyu, you look pretty today. Why are you wearing such pretty clothes? I took a step back, feeling a chill. I know Zhao Xian's nature very well. He is a complete and utter rotten person. In the world of bad people, the ones who haven't slept with are always the best. This person was my sister in my previous life. Now it's me. Gritting my teeth, I tried to dodge to the side. I'm going to work. Please get out of my way. I recently worked as a cashier at a supermarket and wanted to save some money for myself. The boss was a very nice person. When he saw that I was wearing an ill-fitting school uniform with pants that were too short, he gave me his daughter's clothes. The light blue cardigan and snow-white midi skirt make her look much prettier than usual. As a result, he was targeted by Zhao Xian. At this moment, he came up with a playful smile. Work? What kind of work? I have work here. Do you want to work? As he spoke, he tried to move his body closer, I suppressed my nausea and quietly reached into my school bag, grabbing the scissors for self-defense. However, before I could take out the scissors, a figure rushed out from the side. She pushed me aside fiercely and stood in front of Zhao Xian to protect him. Qi Xiaoyu, why are you rubbing against Xian? She said loudly, pointing her finger at my nose. You seduced your sister's fiancé. How shameless of you. Zhao Xian stood in the distance, touched his nose, and said, I just happened to meet Xiaoyu while riding my bike, and she wouldn't let me go. When Qi Yunyun heard this, he became even more furious. Qi Xiaoyu, you are still so evil. Why don't you look in the mirror and see how you are worthy of Zhao Xian? I'm going to marry Zhao Xian for the rest of my life. If you dare to seduce him again, I'll ask my parents to sell you to the mountains. After saying that, Qi Yunyun grabbed Zhao Xian and turned away, but obviously, she was still worried. That night, when I returned home, I found my house in a mess. The tin box where I kept my money had been found, lying in the middle of the room. Inside was the salary I had saved from working in a supermarket during this period. Now the box was empty and all the money inside was held in Qi Yunyun's hand. Qi Yunyun looked at me triumphantly. She waved the banknotes in one hand and pointed at my nose with the other, her long nails almost poking my face. This is Qi Xiaoyu's hidden pocket money. She's always hanging out outside, but she's actually sleeping with the boss of the department store. I saw with my own eyes the supermarket owner giving her money and taking her to buy new clothes. Qi Yunyun pointed at the cardigan and skirt I was wearing and curled her lips. TSK TSK. Now everyone over there probably knows that there's a mistress in our Qi family. Before I could say anything, my father rushed up to me with a gloomy face and slapped me hard. My mother cried and complained. The fortune teller said this girl was unlucky. I took several doses of abortion pills, but the baby still didn't come out. Now she has brought shame to our family. My parents are always like this. They favor their elder sister unconditionally. My sister can be forgiven for anything she does. When I was still a fetus, a master said that I was a disaster star. Not long after I was born, my father's business went bankrupt, so everything I did was wrong. At this moment, my father confiscated all the money I had saved, picked up the belt and started beating me. Qi Yunyun had a smug smile on her face, but her tone sounded like she was crying as she stood by and fanned the flames. Xiaoyu, don't blame daddy for beating you so hard. If you don't hit me harder, you won't learn your lesson. Girls should love themselves. Don't try to make dirty money again. Finally, I passed out from the intense pain. When I woke up again, I was lying in the yard, and my parents took Qi Yunyun shopping. Qi Yunyun is getting engaged soon, and they want to buy her a nice dress. I lost all the money I had saved and didn't even have medicine. I struggled to get up and groped my way out of the yard. The yard next door belongs to my cousin. And at this time only my cousin's wife was washing clothes outside. She was shocked to see me so weak that I couldn't even speak. Xiaoyu, oh my god, what's going on? My cousin's wife dropped her clothes and came to help me, and her hands were covered in blood. Wait a minute, I'll get you some medicine. I lay in the open space in the yard and looked at the sky. The moon is very bright, but there are always some dark corners in the world that it cannot illuminate. My cousin's wife is applying medicine on me. Why are your parents so cruel? After all, she is their own daughter. My cousin's wife wiped her tears. She is a kind person with a soft heart, but his life was hard. He was illiterate and his family would not allow him to continue studying after the 3rd grade of primary school. He had to go home to help with housework and take care of his younger brother. Later, her father sold her to my cousin in order to raise money for his younger brother's dowry. At this moment, she was applying medicine on my wound with concern, and I touched her arm, which was also covered with scars. My cousin often beats her. In my previous life, my cousin's wife passed away when I was less than 20 years old. After a long silence, I suddenly asked, Cousin, do you have any private money? My cousin's wife was stunned for a moment. Don't be afraid, I won't tell my cousin. She breathed a sigh of relief. $2,000. What, is it because your family won't give you money for your studies? If so, take it. Studying is a serious matter. Girls should study. My nose felt sore, but I forced myself not to cry. In the most miserable part of fate, there are poor people who are trying hard to give each other a little sweetness. I whispered, No, cousin, I don't want you to support me. I want to help you make money. I can turn your $2,000 into 20,000, or even 200,000. My cousin's wife chuckled and laughed. She obviously didn't believe me, and said to me like she was coaxing a child, Okay, just use the 2,000 you want to study. And pay me back when you graduate from college, we're relatives. So why should I charge you interest? I said nothing and looked up at the endless night sky. In my previous life, I became rich too late, and when I returned home, my cousin's wife had died of depression. In this life, I must help her. It's also helping myself. Sister, you are so stupid. Even with the opportunity to go back in time, the only thing on her mind was snatching a man, and in my mind, there are stock codes one by one. Do you know what kind of golden finger you gave me? 5. Early Monday morning, I went to school with the money my cousin's wife gave me, intending to sneak away during the break when no one was paying attention, and go to the securities company's business department to open an account. Unexpectedly, not long after I rode my bike out of the school gate, a figure suddenly jumped out from the alley in front of me. The other person was chopping at me with a spiked wooden stick in his hand. I dodged in a hurry and fell off the bicycle, hitting the ground heavily. I didn't care about the pain and covered my school bag first. It contains all the private money that my cousin's wife gave me. In front of me was a pair of brand new brand name shoes. When I looked up, I saw a fat, round face looking down at me with a malicious smile. I recognized him. He is my sister's husband in her previous life, Qin Yong. Qin Yong has been a loyal bootlicker behind Qi Yunyun since middle school. He is a rich second generation whose father does business in the south. When we were still wearing gray school uniforms and generic shoes, Qin Yong was already familiar with all kinds of foreign luxury brands. Qin Yong pursued Qi Yunyun for many years. Qi Yunyun disliked Qin Yong's appearance, but could not give up his wealth. Therefore, she kept him at a distance throughout her teenage years and treated him as her number one backup. Later, when Qi Yunyun was older and hadn't met a better man, she married Qin Yong, but not long after the marriage, Qin Yong's family went bankrupt, and Qi Yunyun, who participated in the investment, was also implicated. The whole family became deadbeats and could not even take the high-speed rail. However, no matter how frustrated Qin Yong may be in the future, at this moment he is still the young master from a prominent family, who is so arrogant that no one can afford to offend him. So I protected my school bag and stepped back carefully, not wanting to have a head-on conflict with him. However, Qin Yong did not let me go. He kicked my face with the tip of his shoe and sneered. Yunyun always told me that her sister was a dishonest bitch, and I really caught her. What were you doing sneaking out of school like that? I whispered. Buy something. Buying things. Qin Yong smiled. He suddenly stopped smiling, grabbed the strap of my school bag fiercely, and poured out everything inside. Pencil cases and books were scattered all over the floor, and an envelope fell out. I wanted to snatch it, but Qin Yong was quick and grabbed the envelope. Wow, so much money. Qin Yong swung the bills in his hand. What are you going to buy? Wedding candy for your sister and me. He put away the envelope and said coldly, don't think I don't know. Yunyun told me that you are vain and jealous of her. So you are willing to be a mistress to earn money to buy beautiful dresses. Did you steal or cheat this money? I'll tell Yunyun right now. Qin Yong kicked me into the corner. Dust flew everywhere, and I was choked and coughed, but my mind suddenly became clear. Qin Yong followed me. It was indeed Qi Yunyun's instruction. I was reborn with her. Although she had already snatched Xiao Xian away, she was still worried about me, so she asked her dog Qin Yong to keep an eye on me. That's not the point. The key point is what Qin Yong just said unintentionally. Buy wedding candy for your sister and me. I burst out laughing. Very good. Qin Yong really didn't know that my sister was already together with Xiao Xian. Come to think of it, he still has some use to Qi Yunyun. If Qi Yunyun tells Qin Yong that she is going to get engaged to someone else, how could Qin Yong still work for her? Qin Yong was originally planning to turn around and leave, but suddenly he saw the smile on the corner of my mouth. He couldn't help but frown. What are you laughing at? I smiled even brighter. I'm happy for my sister. You love her so much and protect her so much. I will definitely have a very good brother-in-law in the future. I whispered. I look forward to your marriage as soon as possible. This is what Qin Yong likes to hear. His brows relaxed, but he still squinted at me. You're saying these nice things now. Do you want me to let you go? You don't have to let me go. I haven't done anything wrong. I stood up and brushed off the dirt on my body. This money was given to me by my cousin's wife. She heard about my sister's wedding and asked me to buy some gifts for her sister. Qin Yong's eyes suddenly changed, and he frowned. What's the good news? I pretended to be confused. I don't know either, but I heard from my parents that they plan to arrange a marriage for my sister before she goes to college. After all, we know each other well in our hometown, and we are childhood sweethearts. It's better than going to a big city and being cheated by a bad man in the future. I took a look at Qin Yong's expression, then smiled and said, "Fool, you still can't react." Qin Yong was a little confused. "What did you react to? My sister's engagement partner must be you," I said with a smile. "Look, everyone knows that you like my sister. My parents said we are childhood sweethearts, so among all the boys around us, who is a better match for my sister than you?" Qin Yong's face lit up with joy, and hesitantly asked, "Why didn't Yun tell me this before?" I scolded her. "My sister is shy, but she should tell you in the next few days." "Oh, I often see her running to the small woods behind the school recently. She must be preparing a surprise for you." Qin Yong was in love and asked in surprise, "Is this true? Why don't you go and take a look now?" I held out my hand to Qin Yong. "Give me the money. I still need to go pick out a dress for my sister, brother-in-law. Do you like pink or blue? I'll pick according to your preference." Qin Yong was so happy to be called brother-in-law that he didn't think much and directly slapped the envelope into my palm. "Pink." After saying that, he ran towards the school. He was probably anxious to see what surprise Qi Yunyun had prepared for him. I smiled, got on my bike, and was in such a good mood that I even whistled. This surprise will definitely make Qin Yong unforgettable for the rest of his life. 6. I rushed to the securities company and my cousin's wife was already waiting anxiously at the door. It was her first time in the trading hall. Looking at the various colors and numbers on the screen, she felt completely confused. "Xiaoyu, do you understand this? I don't even have to look. From the time I bought my first stock, the market trends for decades to come are like something engraved in my mind, and will never be forgotten." I didn't say this to my cousin's wife. I just smiled and said, "I understand, just trust me." At the securities company, I also saw a familiar figure, Qin Yong's father, Mr. Qin. He was originally working with his secretary, but then he received a phone call. His face changed drastically, and he hurriedly got into the black sedan parked at the door and drove towards our school. I stood at the door and watched the car disappear in silence. After finishing the formalities, my cousin's wife came to me and asked, "What are you looking at?" I looked at the sky and said, "Nothing. The weather is going to change." The situation has really changed. With my help, Qin Yong rushed to the grove with great interest, waiting to see the surprise that Qi Yunyun would give him. As soon as he entered the grove, he heard an indescribable sound. When he looked again, he found that the protagonist was his goddess Qi Yunyun and the gangster Zhao Xian, whom he had never looked at before. This can be said to be the greatest stimulation Qin Yong has ever experienced in his life in the past 20 years. By the time he reacted, the sound of the ambulance had already echoed all around. Zhao Xian was beaten up so violently by him that he was sent directly to the hospital for emergency treatment. When I rushed to the hospital, Zhao Xian had already woken up, but was wrapped in gauze like a dumpling, lying on the bed, unable to move. This scene is quite familiar to me. After all, in my previous life, I pushed him to the front of the stage to block the knife for me, and he was often beaten like this, but Qi Yunyun had never seen such a scene before. She stood by the bed and cried until she almost died. Qin Yong was taken to the ward by his father. Mr. Qin was afraid that his son would go to jail, so he came to discuss a private settlement with compensation. As a result, Qin Yong was like a fighting bull. As soon as he entered the ward, his eyes turned red and he rushed directly towards Zhao Xian. If it weren't for the two secretaries of President Qin who quickly held him back, Zhao Xian would probably have been thrown out of the window by him. "Qin Yong, apologize quickly." President Qin was anxious. "Why are you apologizing? I did nothing wrong." Qin Yong panted and pointed at Zhao Xian in the ward. "He raped me, so I beat him up." Poor Qin Yong. As an ordinary person without the perspective of rebirth, his first reaction when he saw Zhao Xian and Qi Yunyun together was of course this. At this moment, Qin Yong looked at Qi Yunyun eagerly. "Yunyun, please help me say something. I am here to save you." President Qin also got hope and looked at Qi Yunyun. "Student, you are an eyewitness, you tell everyone the truth." For a moment, everyone in the ward looked at Qi Yunyun. She gritted her teeth and fell into a long struggle. Finally, she blushed and whispered, "We volunteered." Qin Yong's face suddenly turned pale. "What? Yunyun, you can't possibly." Although Zhao Xian, lying on the hospital bed, was covered in plaster, he still managed a smug smile. A small gangster like him from the gutter would never have the ability to humiliate a rich young master like Qin Yong, but Qi Yunyun actually gave him this opportunity. He was so happy that he was about to take off. "That's right, Yun and I are in love with each other, Zhao Xian said loudly, regardless of the pain of his wound. Qin Yun deliberately hurt me, he should go to jail. President Qin's face turned gloomy, he took a step forward, not looking at Zhao Xian on the bed, but trying to put pressure on Qi Yun. My classmate, I advise you to think it over carefully before you speak. The Qin family is so wealthy that even my parents started to get scared and began to hint to Qi Yun. Yun, why don't you think about it again? It can be seen that Qi Yun is really conflicted, but she couldn't offend Zhao Xian. Not only that, she also had to hold Zhao Xian's heart firmly. That's God Q. Compared with the billions of wealth in the future, the Qin family now seems insignificant. So she held Zhao Xian's hand tightly. What are you thinking? Xian and I are truly in love. Anyone who hurts Xian should pay the price. Qin Yong couldn't bear it any longer, shook off his secretary's hand, rushed forward, and slapped Qi Yun. Qi Yun, are you blind? In his previous life, Qin Yong went bankrupt not long after his marriage, and he was very cowardly in front of Qi Yun, who always looked down on him. This was the first time she was slapped by this person whom she despised so much, and she went crazy immediately. Qin Yong, who do you think you are? She pushed Qin Yong away heavily. You are a second-generation rich man who has accomplished nothing. Do you think you are great just because your family is rich? Let me tell you, you will be bankrupt in a few years. As soon as these words came out, even Mr. Qin, who was standing not far away, turned pale. Finally, Mr. Qin slammed the door and left, and Qin Yong chased after him, leaving our family alone in the ward. My dad was so anxious that he rubbed his hands. This, Yun. Why did you offend the Qin family? My father has been doing some small business in recent years relying on the Qin family's resources. Now that Qi Yun has offended the Qin family to this extent, my father can forget about doing business. Qi Yun frowned impatiently. Dad, don't be so short-sighted. If the business is gone, it's gone. She looked at Zhao Xian tenderly, as if she were looking at a rare treasure. With Xian, we will have everything. 7. For some time afterwards, my parents were busy dealing with the Qin family's difficulties in the business world. My sister was busy going to the hospital and being affectionate with Zhao Xian. I was busy studying and making money. Everyone has a bright future. When Qi Yun went home to make soup for Zhao Xian, she saw me working hard on my homework. Go ahead and study, she sneered. Study as much as you can. Even if you get into Tsinghua or Peking University, you'll just get a low salary when you graduate. I was too lazy to pay attention to her and concentrated on doing the questions. In my previous life, I was forced to follow Zhao Xian and had no chance to go to college. Later, I got a degree through self-study examination for adults, but in the end I was left with too many regrets. Qi Yun didn't understand that not all actions are aimed at making money. Money is a tool to obtain happiness, not happiness itself. For example, I want to experience 4 years of study, have a campus romance that has not been polluted by society, chat about gossip and the future with roommates in the dormitory, and have a midnight snack with friends in the club after the activities. These are the joys that I did not experience in my previous life. After Qi Yun left, I reunited with my cousin's wife. She covered the lower half of her face with a silk scarf, and my baseball cap was pulled down very low, and we both looked like thieves. I bought and sold according to your instructions, said my cousin's wife. This is your money. She handed over a passbook. I was surprised to find that except for the original 2,000 yuan, my cousin's wife gave me all the money. What are you doing? I said. This is all the profit earned from your capital. It's your money. I'll just take a cut. My cousin's wife waved her hands and said, I didn't do anything. Why should I take the money? I originally lent you 2,000 yuan, and now you have returned the money. How can I take the money you earned? I will be struck by lightning. I was helpless and argued with my cousin's wife many times, but she just refused. How about this, cousin? I said. I'll hire you. My cousin's wife was stunned. Why hire me? I still have to prepare for the exam, so I need you to help me with a lot of follow-up things, and I can't open an account by myself before I turn 18. So I still need to use your account to operate. I said. You should charge me a commission for this part. My cousin waved her hand. We are all relatives. I grabbed her hand and said, besides, when I graduate, I will have my own business, and I hope you will be my BD then. My cousin's wife opened her eyes wide. What is BD? I said. Business development. You are outgoing, good at speaking, likable, and good at building relationships. I think this job is very suitable for you. Before my cousin's wife could say anything, I heard a noise at the front door of my house. Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian are back. My cousin's wife and I immediately exchanged glances in tacit understanding, then quietly dispersed and went back to our own homes. This is something we had discussed long ago. Now we are holding a huge amount of money, which is like a child carrying gold through a busy city. It is extremely unsafe, therefore, before I am strong enough, I will never let anyone find out that we have made money. I returned home alone and heard Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian happily chatting in the bedroom. Zhao Xian's voice was filled with the excitement of reaching the pinnacle of life. Teacher Li said that the others were mediocre, but he saw that I was extraordinary, so he decided to teach me everything he had learned in the investment world. Qi Yunyun was very excited. Ah Xian. I knew this day would come. I peeled an apple in the kitchen and started eating it. Oh, Teacher Li, I know what's going on. In the previous life, my parents paid to send Qi Yunyun to a private school in Beijing to study preparatory courses, but she did not meet Teacher Li, but I did encounter it. Mr. Li is well dressed, always wearing a three-piece suit and vest, and speaks fluent English. It is said that he just came back from Wall Street. He has a strong personal charm and is good at giving gripping speeches. In his speech, Mr. Li said that he has completely achieved financial freedom and his current goal in life is to help his fellow villagers get rich together. It can be said that the appearance of Teacher Li perfectly met Qi Yunyun's expectations. After all, Zhao Xian started out as an uneducated gangster, but in the future he became a Q god worth billions. This kind of change is like a young boy with poor talents finally growing up to become a great hero. During this process, there must be some golden finger events such as picking up martial arts secrets and getting guidance from masters. And now, Qi Yunyun has been waiting for a long time, and finally got this golden finger. We will go see Teacher Li again tomorrow. Xian, just study hard with Teacher Li and don't worry about anything else. Zhao Xian looked embarrassed, but the 60,000 yuan apprenticeship fee that Teacher Li mentioned. Qi Yunyun gritted her teeth and said, I'll help you. The apple in my mouth almost hit my teeth. I know Qi Yunyun is not very smart, but I didn't expect the brain to be so smooth. Yes, if you can attribute all your failures in your previous life to not choosing the right man, then you will naturally believe that all your chances of turning things around in this life lie with Mr. Li, a Wall Street elite who charges 60,000 yuan for his apprenticeship fee. I also met Teacher Li in my previous life. At that time, Zhao Xian was so excited that he was determined to make a fortune by following Teacher Li. I stopped him. I was actually just a young girl with little social experience at that time, but I could still tell that something was wrong with Teacher Li. For people who can really make a lot of money, time is extremely precious to them, so why would they come out to teach us how to make money? Moreover, he is so rich, why would he charge us 60,000 yuan as a teaching fee? At that time, Zhao Xian scolded me for being narrow-minded. Don't use your petty mind to speculate on Teacher Li's realm. He has long wanted to stop making money and just wants to help us get rich. This is to save all living beings and accumulate good karma for his next life. Then he still charges 60,000 yuan for apprenticeship. This is just a screening process. Teacher Li wants to see our sincerity. In the end, since I gritted my teeth and refused to agree, Zhao Xian went to find Teacher Li himself. He had no money to pay the apprenticeship fee, but Teacher Li did not make a fuss about it and even expressed his willingness to accept him as a disciple. Zhao Xian felt more and more that Teacher Li was great and wanted to repay Teacher Li in kind. Later, Zhao Xian followed Teacher Li to the south, and I lost contact with him for more than a year. The next time I saw him, he had just escaped from a pyramid scheme and called me crying, Xiao Yu, save me. In fact, I still have a little sympathy for Qi Yunyun and Zhao Xian who are about to join Teacher Li, but that night, I heard the conversation between Qi Yunyun and my mother. Mom, Xiao Yu will be 18 this weekend, and I think it's time for her to start dating. Zhao Xian said he knows a rich uncle who is indeed a bit old, but is willing to give a betrothal gift of 180,000 yuan. My family has been in a bad state recently, and my dad's business is gone. Zhao Xian has an opportunity to get rich, but it requires a capital of 60,000 yuan. So, why don't you arrange for Xiao Yu to meet the man as soon as possible? If she's satisfied, you can transfer the betrothal gift. It turns out that Qi Yunyun's way of getting the 60,000 yuan apprenticeship fee was to sell me out. Then the trace of pity in my heart disappeared without a trace. Die peacefully, sister. I'm really looking forward to watching how you make your way into hell. 8. Sure enough, on my 18th birthday, my family bought me a cream cake for the first time. My birthday present was a new dress. My parents made me put it on and spun around in front of the mirror while praising me. Little Yu has changed a lot since she grew up. She is getting prettier and prettier, even Chi Yunyun was praising her. Xiao Yu looks well behaved and has good grades. Rich people like this the most. My parents took the opportunity to ask me to go on a blind date based on what she said. That person is a few years older than you. Thank you. He is 47 and I am 18, but men with good tempers and older age are caring. Thank you. His first 2 wives divorced him because they couldn't stand the domestic violence. I cursed inwardly, but smiled sweetly on the surface. Okay. Thank you parents and sister for worrying about my lifelong event. I'd love to go on a blind date, but I have to take the college entrance exam soon. Why don't I meet him after I finish the exam? My parents and Chi Yunyun didn't expect me to be so cooperative and they were very happy. At night, I heard them discussing. Xiao Yu probably knows that she won't find anything good if she searches on her own. She must be happy to hear that the other person is rich. I sneered and continued to review. In the blink of an eye, it was the college entrance examination. Since I was not forced to marry Zhao Xian in this life, I was able to take the college entrance examination smoothly. I have always had good grades, so when I finished the last subject and handed in the paper, I felt confident. After leaving the examination room, I didn't go home at all, but went straight to the hotel. My cousin's wife was already waiting there. This is what you want. She handed me a newly purchased suitcase, which contained clothes, a computer, a mobile phone, and toiletries. They were all bought by my cousin's wife according to the list I made. I don't plan to go home. If you leave like this, your parents will probably be very worried. I took the suitcase and said, even if they are worried, they are only worried about the missing betrothal money, not about me. I looked up and sincerely looked at my cousin's wife. Come with me, cousin. I'm going to Shenzhen this summer. There are many opportunities there. You can be my BD and we can make a lot of money together. My cousin's wife, who was used to doing housework, held the corner of her clothes tightly with her hands. I could see that she was scared. After a long while, she sighed. Xiao Yu, go away. You are someone who can do great things, but I can't do that. 9. Cousin's wife. Li Weining said goodbye to Qi Xiaoyu and returned home alone. Walking and crying all the way, she hated herself. But she didn't know what she hated about herself. She is not a brave person and has been accustomed to following other people's orders for the first half of her life. Her parents told her not to study anymore, so she stopped. Let her stay at home to take care of her younger brother, and she will become his second mother. She was asked to marry in exchange for money for her brother to marry. So she married a husband who loved to beat people. She does whatever her husband asks her to do. It seemed that everyone around her was like this and no one resisted. The only one who taught her to resist was Qi Xiaoyu. But she was just a little girl who had just turned 18. Little girls are always full of innocent courage. She hadn't had the courage when she was a little girl, and she has even less now that she's so old. Li Weining returned home. The house was in a mess, with the husband lying on the mattress surrounded by wine bottles. As soon as she came in, a wine bottle flew over and hit the door frame, with broken glass all over her. You just came back now. You want to starve me to death. Such conversations happened every day, and Li Weining went to the kitchen to cook with her head down. She chopped the chopping board loudly, trying to cover up her husband's scolding with the sound of cutting vegetables, but the insults still continued to flood into her ears. You are unemployed. You don't bring any money home. You eat and live at my expense. So you have to take good care of me, and stop fooling me with your cyst medical records. I'm telling you, if you don't have a son this year, I'll break your legs. Li Weining cut vegetables in silence. An indescribable warmth surged in her heart, and her hands cut faster and faster. She remembered many things, thinking of her passbook. Her husband only gave her 1,000 yuan for household expenses every month and scolded her for not knowing how to live. But now she has 100,000 yuan in her account, which was left to her by Qi Xiaoyu. She remembered Qi Xiaoyu's words. Cousin, awakening is a long process, but also a sudden moment. We all thought that if we gave in a little, we could get by, but it doesn't work. There will be a moment when you feel like, screw it, I quit, then you will enter a whole new world. Li Weining was cutting potatoes when she heard the man yelling. Are you done? I asked you to cook. Why are you dawdling in the kitchen? Do you want to starve me to death? You've been running outside all day long recently, you should be tied up with a dog chain. Li Weiying suddenly chopped the chopping board with a knife, she said. Fuck it. It was a strange afternoon. Li Weiying's husband suddenly found his wife, who was known for her good temper, rushing out of the kitchen with a kitchen knife in her hand. She yelled, "Fuck you, I quit." Li Weiying rushed out of the house. She left everything behind, and she was wearing only slippers and an apron, taking nothing with her. There are many things behind it, her carefully managed home, her marriage, and her original family, but she didn't even look back. She was running on the road, with only a huge sunset in front of her, but she felt strongly, she is heading towards a new world. 10. When I was about to leave the hotel and go to the train station, my cousin's wife came running over. She lost one of her slippers while running. Her hair was messy, and she still had an apron tied around her waist. She rushed over breathlessly. "Xiao Yu, I've made up my mind, I want to go with you." Me, put down the kitchen knife first and talk. My cousin Li Weiying was cutting vegetables in the kitchen on the day she bid farewell to the old world. She was so excited that she forgot to put the kitchen knife down. Thanks to the kitchen knife, her cruel husband didn't dare to stop her, and she was able to escape from home safely. I went to buy my cousin's wife a pair of new shoes, and then went to buy her a train ticket. My cousin's wife kept looking at me with sparkling eyes. "Xiao Yu, didn't you ask me to be your baby before? Is there anything I need to learn, even though I'm old? I can learn it, it's BD, I corrected my cousin's wife. And you are not too old, a 25-year-old woman, there is still time for everything, it's still in time." My cousin's wife agreed with me happily. "Xiao Yu, I think I can definitely be a good DD. It doesn't matter, it's a good thing to start, in the future, we still have a lot of time to take things slow." The train started from the track. The setting sun outside the window was golden. My cousin's wife was beside me, excitedly holding a vocabulary book and began to study. While I leaned against the window, looking at the endless scenery outside the window. The next 10 years will be a decade of rapid development. There will be earth-shaking changes in China's economic sector. The bigger the water, the bigger the fish, and the more opportunities there are. I'm ready. This time, I will only do better than before. 11. It was 3 years later that I saw Qi Yunyun again. She and Zhao Xian escaped from the pyramid scheme and were giving statements at the police station. Since I was a relative, the police summoned me. When I saw Qi Yunyun again, I almost didn't recognize her. Even though only 3 years had passed, Qi Yunyun looked like she had aged 20 years. She had white hair early and deep wrinkles between her eyebrows. Zhao Xian, on the other hand, had a hunched back and a cunning look in his eyes. How should I put it? From a small gangster to an old gangster. And Qi Yunyun couldn't recognize me either. I was wearing a long silk dress. It had no logo on it, but the fabric showed that it was expensive. My previously dark and thin skin had been nourished to become fair and tender, and my dry and yellow hair had become jet black and smooth, casually draped over my shoulders. The car that took me to the police station was a familiar Rolls-Royce. The driver in white gloves opened the door for me, and the bodyguard in black suit followed silently behind me. Qi Yunyun was stunned when she saw me sitting down in front of her. "No, impossible." I pretended to be confused. "What's impossible? You didn't marry Zhao Xian. Zhao Xian is mine." Qi Yunyun's voice suddenly became hoarse. "Why did you become rich?" I frowned impatiently. "Sister, you said that we two sisters haven't seen each other for 3 years, and you come up to me and tell me this. When did I ever compete with you for Zhao Xian? He is definitely yours. Don't worry about that." My tone was cold. I already know what happened 3 years ago. Since I ran away immediately after the college entrance examination, my parents couldn't find me, so the blind date naturally fell through. In order to raise 60,000 yuan as Zhao Xian's apprenticeship fee, Qi Yunyun borrowed money from a loan shark. She firmly believed that investing in Zhao Xian was worthwhile, and no matter how high the interest rate of usury was, it would not matter compared to Zhao Xian's sudden wealth. The result is that one wrong step leads to another. They followed Teacher Li South loyally and entered the pyramid scheme den, being controlled, abused, and restricted in freedom. Qi Yunyun was going crazy. She repeatedly asked Zhao Xian, "Did you experience this in your previous life?" But Zhao Xian had not been reborn, so he naturally could not answer her question. At this moment, Qi Yunyun faced me and tried hard to review where the problem lay. After a long moment, she smiled strangely. "I see. You wrote down the stocks that Zhao Xian bought in your previous life, and repeated his operation in this life, right?" I was playing with the jade ring on my hand and was too lazy to pay attention to Qi Yunyun. with this IQ, you are really not worthy of talking to me. The great opportunity for rebirth is right in front of her, even if she just memorizes a few lottery numbers. It is better than thinking about Zhao Xian. It doesn't matter, Zhao Xian has already escaped from the pyramid scheme. And he will be able to buy stocks later. Qi Xiaoyu, just wait, I will definitely live a better life than you in this life. So, after coming out of the police station, Qi Yunyun borrowed money from everywhere and tried hard to raise money for Zhao Xian to buy stocks. But I don't understand this. Zhao Xian was very confused. Don't be afraid, you are Q God, just buy according to your intuition. Zhao Xian didn't know what Q God was, but he had never had a clear idea of his own capabilities. After listening to Qi Yunyun praising him like that and reading a few stories about people who got rich by speculating in the stock market online, he immediately became excited and felt that he would be the next one, so he bought in large amounts. At the beginning, I actually made a little money by luck. Qi Yunyun was overjoyed, and they quickly invested all their money back into the stock market. Then came the unprecedented collapse. Qi Yunyun didn't believe it. She grabbed Zhao Xian's hand and said, "It's okay, Xian, you are Q God, we can definitely turn the tables." They decided to have a good sleep and calm down before thinking of a solution the next day. As a result, the next morning, when Zhao Xian got up, he rubbed his eyes and told Qi Yunyun that he had a dream. "I dreamed that in my previous life, when Xiaoyu and I were in the sports equipment room, you didn't break in, and we ended up getting married. Later you went to Beijing to study and married Qin Yong. Xiaoyu and I continued to stay in our hometown. Teacher Li also showed up. I wanted to become his disciple, but Xiaoyu wouldn't let me. I went there without telling her, but ended up getting tricked into a pyramid scheme. I escaped a few years later, and Xiaoyu came to the police station to pick me up. She was already very rich at that time. She said she didn't want to control me, and if I still wanted to follow her, I should do things for her. She asked me to accept media interviews. The media took photos of me and called me Q God. I agreed and answered them according to what Xiaoyu asked me to memorize. In fact, I don't know anything. I was just a shield for Xiaoyu. People who hate God Q will take revenge on me. I was almost beaten to death several times. I know Xiaoyu hates me, and this is her punishment for me. But I didn't dare to leave, nor did I dare to tell the truth. I was afraid that Xiaoyu would ignore me, and then I would be a real scum of society." After Zhao Xian finished speaking, he saw that Qi Yunyun's face looked frighteningly ugly. He stretched out his hand and waved it in front of Qi Yunyun. "Honey, are you angry?" Zhao Xian coaxed her. "I dreamed of being with your sister. Are you jealous?" "I'm sorry, I definitely love you the most," Zhao Xian murmured puzzledly, "but that dream was too detailed. It can't be true." Before Zhao Xian finished speaking, he heard Qi Yunyun's shrill scream. She grabbed her hair, screamed desperately, and even banged her head against the wall. Before Zhao Xian could catch her, Qi Yunyun fainted. 12. "Well, your sister woke up, that's it, in the mental hospital." I looked at the woman in front of me. She became crazy, sitting on the bed, giggling and then crying bitterly. "I've given so much, so much. I am the heroine of a rebirth novel. The heroines of rebirth novels all want to reach the pinnacle of their lives. Why hasn't anything changed?" I asked Zhao Xian to leave and sit down next to Qi Yunyun. "Sister, you don't understand. What's useful is not rebirth, but taking advantage of information gaps and changing your thinking and cognition. And you have none of these, but I still want to thank you for sending me back." I said sincerely, "Thanks to you, I have lived an extremely successful life." Qi Yunyun stared at me, and after a moment, she screamed again. "Keep an eye on her and don't let her hurt herself." I gave instructions to the medical staff and left the mental hospital. "Today, I have an important meeting." 13. At the deepest part of the alley there is a blue roof with a sign at the door, "Wishing Shop, 10 yuan per time." It looks like a small shop that only junior high school students would visit. I walked into the store. The handsome young man was dozing off behind the counter while holding a big yellow cat. Upon hearing the noise, he immediately stood up and said, "Welcome." He saw my face clearly and was stunned. "I'm sorry for not welcoming you. What do you want from me?" I smiled and said, "Don't pretend. I know that my sister got a chance to be reborn because of you. It took me a long time to find this clue. The manager of this inconspicuous little shop is Su Xiaoran and the deputy manager is Ji Zhao. But the information I got was very strange. Su Xiaoran was a very ordinary female college student, and Ji Zhao's identity could not be found out at all. At this moment, Ji Zhao brought me a cup of hot tea. I had no mood to drink it, so I got straight to the point and said, I can give you any amount of money you need. I have only one request, I cannot be reborn again. Yes, that's what I want to do. Block Qi Yunyun's path to rebirth. Ji Zhao was stunned for a moment and then laughed. You may have misunderstood. Our real client is not your sister, but you. My eyebrows twitched. Time travel is an extremely expensive business. We only offer it to the most deserving clients. You are one of the people we selected very early on. Then why didn't you come to see me? We looked for it. We tried many times to leave small ads where you could see them and send you text messages to promote our products, but you ignored them all. I held my forehead. This is indeed very likely. I'm so busy that I have to rely on my secretary to remind me of important emails, let alone something like this, which looks like spam. So we tried to sell it to your sister. She was very reluctant to accept the past. So she agreed immediately. I raised an eyebrow. Does she know that you are using her to your advantage? Look at what you said. How can this be called exploitation? Ji Zhao waved his hands. His eyebrows and eyes were coated with a beautiful golden color in the sun. We did let her be reborn, but the price was to bring you back to life with us. These conditions are all laid out in the open, and she agreed to them herself. It was a clear deal. As for other matters, they are beyond our jurisdiction. Whether you can change your fate or make things worse depends entirely on your own ability. Our store is not responsible. Then I have one last question, I said. Why did you choose me? This is also very simple. You have actually answered us with practical actions. Ji Zhao smiled. This time you were reborn. You changed your original investment route and put more energy into the real economy, providing nearly 10,000 jobs for the society and promoting the reform of the manufacturing industry. Sure enough, at a family gathering, after Zhao Xian said he wanted to go to the bathroom, I saw Qi Yunyun following him in the corner. On the financial magazine on Ji Zhao's counter, there was a photo of my cousin's wife. As a female entrepreneur from a grassroots background, she has recently been committed to promoting agricultural assistance projects. In the photo, she has a bright and shining smile. She is no longer the little woman who died of domestic violence from her husband in her previous life. There are many women like Li Weining, Ji Zhao said. So, this deal is worth it for us. 14. When Su Xiaoran returned to the wishing shop, Ji Zhao was looking for something to cover his instant noodles. Want a bite? Ji Zhao said. I added cheese, seaweed, crab sticks, and soft-boiled eggs. Su Xiaoran ignored him and opened his notebook to confirm the follow-up details of the business. Well, Qi Yunyun spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Qi's parents went bankrupt and fell into poverty and debt collection. Zhao Xian lived on the streets and got a leukemia. Qin Yong went to jail for beating someone, and his father became a deadbeat. Su Xiaoran wrote down the endings of these side characters one by one, but, for Qi, these should not be important. These people couldn't stop her in the last life, and they can't stop her in this life either, just like Mr. Qi said. She will only lead more people to a bigger world. After expressing his feelings, Su Xiaoran looked at the instant noodles in front of Ji Zhao. What is that? Instant noodles with cheese, seaweed, crab meat, and soft-boiled egg. I just asked if you wanted a bite. No, I'm asking what that thing you're using to wipe the instant noodle soup is. Ji Zhao took a look and was stunned. Oh shit, it's the check that Mr. Qi left for us. He had just spilled his instant noodle soup and was wiping the table with something. It turned out to be a check written by President Qi to thank them, and the amount was extremely huge. Damn, they're all soaked and can't be used anymore. Hurry up and let me go back to 10 minutes ago. Hurry up. Su Xiaoran could no longer bear it. Ji Zhao, this is not how the abilities of the Suhui people can be used. Hurry. Let me be reborn. It's more than 50 million. A mini rebirth took place inside the shop, and the next sponsor should be on the way. Story 2. I had been married to Qi and I for 3 years. It was only after his death that I discovered his morbid and paranoid longing for me from his diary. I'm so envious of the young lady's dog. I also want the young lady to put a collar on me. I dreamed of the young lady. When I woke up, I'm wet again. I'm guilty. With the diary in hand, I was reborn 10 years ago. It was the most down and out time for Qi and I. The look he gave me was cold, like a wild and untamed fierce dog. I smiled and hooked my finger. Smile, or I'll kiss your mouth until it's swollen. The deliberately maintained indifference on his face suddenly collapsed completely. 1. When I arrived at school in a Rolls-Royce, Qi and I was selling egg-filled pancakes at the school gate. He was 186 meters tall, thin and tall, the cheap apron outlined his slender waistline. Just looking at his back, he gave a strong sense of being a good husband. Seemingly sensing something, Chi and I raised his eyes. His indifferent and world-weary eyes looked at me. An extra egg costs 5 yuan, and without an extra egg, it's 4 yuan. His tone was as calm as a stagnant pool of water. I smiled and showed my phone. How much for adding you as a friend? The hand holding the spatula tightened. He warned with a solemn face, Chingzi, this isn't a place for you to play around. His voice was cold, looking as if he was pushing people away from 1,000 miles away. I was a bit dazed. This Chi and I was different from the one in my memory. 2. In my previous life, my father went bankrupt and died when I was 25, and my fiancé went to prison. I fell from a rich young lady to the abyss. To pay off the debts, I signed a contract with an internet celebrity company. The company arranged a 12-hour live streaming task for me every day. If I didn't want to do it, I had to pay a huge liquidated damages. I thought my life was over like this. Suddenly, the company was acquired by a certain big shot, and all the exploitative contracts were invalidated. When signing the new contract, I found out that the new boss was Chi and I. He was my classmate in high school and university. He no longer had the down and out and gloomy look of his youth. He had a calm temperament, wearing a set of high-end custom-made suits. He looked extremely noble. He had become someone I could only look up to. I suppressed the bitterness and lowered my head. He took the pen from my hand, and his gentle gaze fell on my face, with a faint burning sensation. Chi and I asked me if I was willing to marry him, and he would pay off all my debts. Seeing my stunned look, he explained lightly that I had helped him in high school, and my father had also funded him in university. I was his benefactor. I racked my brains and thought about it. The help he mentioned was nothing more than that he had worked part-time at my home for a while in high school. It's okay if you're not willing, don't worry about those debts. I thought for only a second and then simply agreed. Chi and I was silent for a while and then lowered his pitch black eyes. I'm not a good person. This is taking advantage of kindness to repay. I can give you time to think it over carefully. Don't force yourself. I shook my head. Mr. Chi, I'm willing. To show that I wasn't being forced, I carefully hooked his little finger. Suddenly, Chi's hand trembled, and his whole body tensed up, like a wild beast breaking out of its cage. Strong emotion surged in his eyes. His gaze was so intense that it seemed as if he wanted to swallow me in one bite. It was a bit scary, but when I saw his red ears, I wasn't afraid at all. I boldly threw myself into his arms. After getting married, Chi and I respected me very much, according to the nanny. He almost treated me like an ancestor. However, Chi and I never touched me. I shyly took the initiative to tease him. The corners of his eyes were tinged with a faint red. Clearly, his breathing was disordered, but he restrained himself and stuffed me into the quilt. Sorry, I'm not okay there. He gave an explanation in a hoarse voice. I took a look down. Liar. He was so excited that his suit pants were almost bursting. I thought Chi and I didn't like me and married me just to repay his kindness. It was only after his death that I accidentally found his diary. After opening it, my heart was pounding wildly. The young lady smells so good. I can never get enough of it. I'm so jealous of that ugly dog. It can be held in her arms. Why can't I be a dog? Is it because I'm not ugly enough? I dreamed of the young lady. When I woke up, I'm wet again. I'm guilty. If I die, will the young lady cry? I'd better die quietly. The young lady looks the most beautiful when she smiles. I never expected that the cold and gentle Chi and I actually had such crazy longings for me in his heart. You damned man, you made me live like a widow for 3 years. In this life, I don't believe I can't pry open his hard-mouthed lips. 3. No kidding. Chi and I was busier than the president every day. He sold egg-filled pancakes in the morning, worked part-time during the day, and stayed up all night writing code for his startup at night. He was rated as the poorest school hunk in University A. It was said that when he learned that he was rated as the school hunk, Chi and I didn't even lift his eyelids. He only asked, "Can the title of school hunk be converted into cash?" Everyone said he was crazy about money. This directly led to the fact that I only spent 200 yuan to hire Chi and I as an art model. The moment he stepped into the classroom and saw me, his steps paused. I didn't give him a chance to back out. I closed the door with a bang. "Student Chi and I, you've taken my money. Do you want to run away?" It seemed that he just reacted and withdrew his gaze from my face. He consciously sat on the chair, knees together, hands stiffly placed on his thighs. His lips were tightly pursed. "You can start." I looked at him with a smile. Take off your clothes. What? He slightly raised his eyes. He looked very much like a frightened fierce dog. I said matter-of-factly, as an art model, of course you have to take off your clothes. Don't you have even this bit of professional ethics? There was a long standoff. Chi closed his eyes and gave in. He raised his hand and slowly unbuttoned the first button of his shirt, revealing his sexy Adam's apple. Then came his beautiful collarbone, going further down. I sincerely praised. It's very beautiful. Student Chi is pink. The 19-year-old Chi didn't have the calmness and composure of 10 years later, just being teased a few times. Even his fair skin turned a thin layer of pink, his slender, jointed hand pressed on his waist, as if he was enduring to the extreme. Shut up, he scolded softly, ashamed and annoyed. The air conditioner was set at a high temperature. Sweat trickled down his abdominal muscles and disappeared below his beautiful mermaid line. I kindly pinched a tissue to wipe his sweat. Both Chi and his brother stood up straight. So polite, I commented, following my gaze. Chi's whole body stiffened. And his face looked extremely ugly. He reflexively grabbed his backpack to block it. The veins on the back of his hand bulged, full of tension. In the previous life, it was also this hand that gently patted my back in countless nights to drive away my nightmares. Chi repeatedly emphasized that he was taking advantage of kindness to repay and wasn't a good person. But there was no one better than him in the world. A person who loved money so much gave me his hundreds of millions of without reservation. What a fool. The 19-year-old Chi wasn't gentle. Are you done drawing? I'm leaving. He had a straight face and an extremely rude tone. I knew very well that this was just his bluffing disguise. I stood on tiptoe and kissed him on the corner of his lips. Good boy, let's call it a day. The fierce expression on his face could no longer be maintained. He covered the kissed part of his face and took a step back. What are you doing? There was disbelief in his pitch black eyes, like a beautiful innocent girl forced by a bully. I blinked, looking very innocent. This is your reward, don't you like it? What do you take me for? Chi tightened the straps of his school bag, and the broken hair hanging down in front of his forehead blocked the emotions in his eyes. Chungzi. His slightly hoarse voice said word by word. I'm not that kind of shady person. He was so angry that his face turned red. He walked very fast, as if there were evil spirits chasing after him. Not long after, my phone received 200 yuan that Chi had returned. He was determined to draw a clear line with me. I deliberately played the blame-shifting game. Chi, that was my first kiss. 200 yuan isn't enough. It was also my first kiss. As soon as the message was sent, he hastily withdrew it. The chat box kept showing typing. When I came back after taking a shower, in 20 minutes, my phone was filled with messages from Chi. He probably finally calmed down, just like in the art studio. His tone was stiff. So what do you want? Another 5 minutes passed. Prompt, your new friend Chi has transferred 3,527.24 yuan to your account. Chi, this is all I have on hand. The rest is in financial management. I'll withdraw it tomorrow. After a while, Chingzi, I'm not angry with you. This kind of thing can only be done between boyfriend and girlfriend. You already have a fiancé. I accepted the money and sent him a voice message. Student Chi, I'll act as if this never happened and won't affect your reputation. One sentence interrupted the spell, casting on the other side. After a while, Chi sent 2 dry words. Okay. I lay on the bed, imagining what expression Chi might have now. Suddenly, I saw a message from Su Jing. Su Jing was my cousin. After my uncle and aunt passed away, my parents took her in and took care of her at home. I had always regarded her as my own sister. It was only until the Jing family went bankrupt that I discovered that she had been jealous of our family for so many years. She was jealous that my family was rich, jealous that I was loved and grew up pampered by my parents, and hated that I was engaged to the boy she had a crush on. She deliberately leaked the company's confidential documents and then showed off her love with my fiancé in front of my sickbed, making my father's heart stop. On the phone, Su Jing's voice was sweet. Did you quarrel with Zhou Yang again? I booked a table at the bar tonight and also called Zhou Yang by the way. This time, I'll definitely force him to apologize to you. It was the same old thing again. Whenever I had a conflict with my fiancé, Su Jing would always act as a confidant sister to persuade us, but the more she persuaded, the worse my relationship with Zhou Yang became. Listening to her gentle voice, I smiled. Cousin, do you think too highly of yourself, forcing Zhou Yang to apologize to me? Are you his mother or his great-grandmother? I could tell she was being fake nice. Su Jing was slightly stunned. Zi, how can you say such ugly words to your sister? I said casually, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with my family education. After hanging up the phone, I asked a makeup artist to do a man-killing nightclub makeup and set off happily, because I found out that Chi and I worked part-time at this bar at night. It would be nice to show my face in front of my future husband by the way. 5. Chi and I was cleaning up the messy tables in the bar, under the ambiguous and dim lights. He was mopping the floor very seriously with a rag. He didn't sell his body or his skills. Just his hard work. With his broad shoulders, narrow waist, curvy buttocks, and long legs, he attracted the attention of many people. When he saw me, his eyebrows knitted tightly. Before he could speak, Su Jing came out of the private box to welcome me. She glanced at Chi and I. This male model is not bad. Do you like him? I'm not a male model. Chi and I explained with a cold face. Su Jing waved her hand indifferently. Then you ask the manager to call a group of male models over. I want the highest quality ones. I was pulled into the private box by Su Jing. There were several of her friends sitting inside. Zhou Yang has a very stubborn temper and refuses to come and apologize no matter what. Su Jing raised a smiling face. There are more men in the world than just Zhou Yang. In my opinion, you should try someone else. When Zhou Yang gets jealous and anxious, he will definitely know how to bow his head and apologize, her friends echoed. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why stick to just one? Zhou Yang is nothing. Su Jing clapped her hands, and the door of the private box opened. Male models of various styles filed in, bringing in a pungent smell of perfume. She and I walked at the end, calmly placing the fruit plate and drinks on the table. Pick the best one to accompany you tonight. Consider it a boredom-relieving gift from your sister. Su Jing looked very understanding. A few of her friends secretly raised their phones. They just wanted to take a video and send it to Zhou Yang to drive a wedge between me and him. I had seen so many such despicable means after going bankrupt in my previous life. Then you, and you. I pointed to the 3 most expensive male models in the room. I turned my head and smiled at Su Jing. Cousin, I have a big appetite. I'm going to make you spend a fortune tonight. My parents gave the same amount of pocket money to Su Jing and me. But Su Jing was extravagant and loved to show off in front of her friends, so all along, I had been quietly covering for her. Tonight, she was probably going to max out her credit card. Su Jing forced a smile. It's okay, as long as you like it. After all, I'm your sister, right? I hugged 3 male models on either side. Before going out, I took a look at Chi and I, who was still arranging the fruit plate, so dedicated. The watermelon slices were almost squeezed into watermelon juice by him. Su Jing opened a luxury suite for me. Suddenly, the room card in my hand was snatched away. Chi and I stood in front of me, his breathing becoming rapid. Qingzi, this isn't a place to fool around. I know, so I'm going to fool around somewhere else. Qingzi's face turned pale. Several male models teased. Does the part-timer also want to join? He's so wooden. Can he serve Miss Qing well? Kid, go mop your floor properly. Chi and I pursed his lips tightly and said nothing, until I reached out to snatch the key from his hand, but instead, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me into his arms. His strong arm was across my waist. I struggled a bit, and Chi and I hugged me even tighter. I looked up and met his wet eyes. His eyelashes were gently trembling. Hot breath sprayed in my ear. Don't choose them, choose me. His voice was so suppressed that it was almost broken. Miss, choose me. I'm cleaner than them. 6. Finally, I understood why in those domineering president novels, the male lead would fall in love at first sight with the stubborn little white flower female lead. I might really not be a good person. Seeing Qingzi's forbearing and fragile appearance, I just wanted to bully him even more, until we were led into the hotel suite. Chi and I still maintained the posture of holding me in his arms. He looked dazed. It seemed that he didn't know how things had developed to this point. Qingzi, call me miss. I raised my index finger and touched his lips. I pressed down on them provocatively. Why are you frowning? Student Chi and I, weren't you so bold when you drove those 3 people away just now? You said you were better than them. Is it here, or here? The muscles under my palm suddenly stiffened as if they had been electrocuted. Before I could fully appreciate the boy's ashamed and indignant expression, my wrist was grabbed. Qingzi, do you really have to be like this? Those eyes were dark and deep, filled with a profound and surging desire that was even thicker than the night outside the window. It was creepy to look at. I smiled and tilted my head back. pecking at his protruding Adam's apple. Chinese fierce mask shattered into pieces, his breathing became disordered, and he chased after my lips and kissed me. The 29-year-old Chi and I was always calm, powerful, gentle, and reserved. The 19-year-old Chi and I was just the opposite. He was like a tireless young calf. Full of boundless brute force, he would get extremely excited with just a few teases. He had no skills and only knew how to plunder clumsily. He was so clumsy. I tilted my head back and kissed his tense chin. Student Chi and I, who was the shady person. He lowered his eyes and glanced at me without saying a word, just focusing on what he was doing. Student Chi and I has such a stubborn mouth. Everything about you is stubborn. Stop talking. Chi and I was furious and covered my eyes. His actions were fierce, but the kiss that landed carried a devout longing. Suddenly losing my sight, my sense of hearing became even more acute. I boldly teased him. Student Chi and I, you sound so nice when you make those noises. Okay, this time, my mouth was also fiercely blocked. I was like a triple-fold mobile phone. Chi and I treated me like a treasure, tossing and turning with me until dawn. When the knock on the door sounded, Chi and I instinctively lifted the quilt and wrapped me tightly. Qingzi. Open the door quickly, I know you're in there. Are you too afraid to open the door because you dared to cheat on me? Zhou Yang's furious voice floated into the room word by word. Chi and I seemed to have just come to his senses, and his bloodshot eyes awkwardly avoided mine. His fingers tightly grasped the bed sheet. Do you want me to hide? The air was filled with a thrilling smell that made people's faces turn red and their hearts race. Chinese chest and back were covered with scratches. Not to mention the corner of his mouth that was broken. He was like a wolf cub who had been severely bullied but still lowered his head and looked submissive. Somehow, I didn't want others to see him in this state. Outside, Zhou Yang's angry roars didn't stop, mixed with Su Jing's gentle soothing voice. It was so annoying. I directly dialed the phone and wailed into it. Mom and Dad, my cousin is pregnant with Zhou Yang's child. Yes, I've been cheated on. Woo-woo. After hanging up the phone, a series of mobile phone ringtones sounded outside the door. Zhou Yang and Su Jing were flustered as they explained to the phone. Gradually, the voices outside the door faded away. The tears that I had finally squeezed out were gently wiped away by Chi and I. His eyebrows furrowed into a small hill. Did they betray you? Yes. Stop crying. It's not worth it. In novels, the male lead would use all kinds of sweet words to make people feel elated. Chi and I couldn't do that. He could only say a few dry words over and over again. My eyes were filled with tears, and I cast flirtatious glances at him. I was hoping that he would coax me more. Chi and I was silent for a while, as if he had made up his mind. His tone was solemn. Qingzi, I will act as if this never happened. It won't affect your reputation. Go away. I might as well have cast my flirtatious glances at a dog. I took a deep breath. Chi and I, don't you have anything to confess to me? Who exactly saved me when I fell into the water in my sophomore year of high school? 7. In high school, Chi and I went to the same school. When he came to work part-time, my parents paid him extra to take better care of me. In more common terms, Chi and I was my lackey. He didn't seem to care about the mockery from others. He always called me miss in a serious manner and followed me dutifully. During the summer vacation of my sophomore year in high school, I went camping in the mountains with several of my peers in the same social circle. While playing around, I was swept into the river by the turbulent water. When I woke up again, I was lying in the same hospital room as Zhou Yang. Everyone said that Zhou Yang had risked his life to save me. I regarded him as my savior and treated him with preference and tolerance everywhere. During the same period, Chi and I resigned from his part-time job, transferred schools, and disappeared without a trace. It was only in my previous life when I opened the diary that I learned the truth. The one who saved me was clearly this big fool. Chi and I retrieved the medical records from that time from the hospital. In order to save me, his legs were broken, and his calves were scratched by stones, leaving several deep blood marks that could even show the bone. He disappeared from my world silently, covered in injuries. In the diary, Chi and I didn't write the reason. Now, when I pressed him, he instinctively tightened his grip on the bed sheet. I don't know, he was still pretending. I got angry. I directly hooked my arm around his neck and bit the other corner of his mouth. I took a hard bite. Do you know now? His eyelids twitched, and he lowered his voice. Sorry, it's getting late. I have to go sell pancakes. I laughed out of anger. As the young lady of the Qing family, how could I be less important than a multigrain pancake? The 29-year-old Chi and I was clearly not like this. When he heard me cough on the phone, he would immediately end his work and rush back from abroad. No matter how busy he was on a business trip, he would always remember to bring me all kinds of small gifts that I liked. After I found a job, he would definitely take a detour every day to send me to work and pick me up after work. The assistant said that for a big boss like Mr. Chi, time was more precious than money. He said I don't love you and I can't with his mouth. But he left all the most precious things to me. I was probably spoiled by Chi and I couldn't accept such a big gap from 10 years ago. 8. When I got home, everyone was there. Su Jing knelt on the ground crying, aunt and uncle. Zhou Yang and I are innocent. I don't know why my sister is slandering me. Zhou Yang helped her up, his face full of anger. Chengzi, stop being unreasonable. There's no need to involve innocent people in our conflict. She's your sister, not a servant. Why should she kneel to you? My mother hugged Su Jing distressfully and comforted her softly. My father also sternly said that he would definitely clear her name. I still couldn't figure it out. What right did Su Jing have to hate our whole family to the core, just for a man? If in my previous life she had directly said that she liked Zhou Yang, I would have happily fulfilled them, but she didn't. She was submissive with her mouth, but in her heart, she was planning how to push me and my parents to their deaths. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Zhou Yang became even more confident. You went to the bar and ordered male models just to make me angry and force me to make up with you. Can you please change your young lady's temper? Who else can tolerate you except me? If you can't stand it, then break off the engagement. After coldly leaving such a sentence, I directly went upstairs and returned to my room. Zhou Yang left in a fit of anger. During dinner, it was just me and Su Jing at home. Her eyes were swollen, and she forced a smile. Zhou Yang really likes you, even though you treated him like that. He didn't even think about breaking off the engagement. That's because he's despicable. I slowly shoveled rice into my mouth. Cousin, give me some of the stuff you put in the hotel room that night. I had known for a long time that she had put an aphrodisiac incense in the suite in advance. Otherwise, Chi and I wouldn't have lost control like that. Although he looked really cute when he lost control, Su Jing still wanted to argue, but I interrupted her with a smile. Give it to me, or I'll call the police. Su Jing couldn't even pretend to be weak anymore. She looked at me with a mixture of surprise and fear. Chengzi, what on earth do you want to do? I sighed. I feel sorry for you. Cousin, if you were really pregnant with Zhou Yang's child, would you still be afraid that he wouldn't marry you? In my previous life, Su Jing was indeed pregnant and colluded with Zhou Yang to bring down the Qing family's business. She fantasized about becoming Mrs. Zhou. But she didn't expect that without the protection of the Qing family, her tenderness and consideration became worthless in Zhou Yang's eyes. Zhou Yang was still determined to marry me as if he had gone crazy. On the wedding day, Su Jing rushed over with a fruit knife. In the chaos, I kindly pushed Zhou Yang. He happened to run into the blade. After a day and a night of rescue, although Zhou Yang's life was saved, he became a vegetable. Even though Su Jing cursed and said that the person she wanted to stab was me, she still couldn't avoid being sent to prison by the Zhou family, and naturally, the child in her belly wasn't saved. The only bloodline of Zhou Yang was gone. However, in his vegetative state, all these things didn't matter anymore. The Zhou family belatedly realized that this was my revenge, but they couldn't find any evidence. They gnashed their teeth and publicized that their son was a pure love warrior and a deep lover who took the knife for his fiancée. I'm afraid that in the whole world, only this fool, Chi and I, thought that I was deeply in love with Zhou Yang. Before he died, he hired more than a dozen bodyguards for me. He purchased several properties abroad. He also quietly formed a high-level medical team to study the rehabilitation technology for vegetative patients. In his will, he told me calmly and distantly, Chengzi is free, no matter which kind of life she chooses, he will support her. I ran back to my room and pressed the yellowed diary against my chest. Tears fell on the back of my hand. I confidently dialed Chini's phone number. Honey, they all bullied me. 9. I wanted to take Chi and I to the hospital for a physical examination. There were still 10 years before he died of gastric cancer, and everything was still in time, but Chi and I avoided me for more than half a month. It was as if I was a man-eating flood or a ferocious beast, so I had to intercept him in front of the pancake stall. Chini's eyes were cold. He was completely different from the passionate person that night. I smiled and said, Boss Chi, add a sausage and 2 eggs. The boy had an expressionless face like a robot, but his hand trembled, and he got a blister from the hot iron plate. It hurts me to see you get hurt. Since Chi and I couldn't say sweet words, then it was my turn. He could just be the female lead in a sweet romance novel. I seized the opportunity and frantically poured out cheesy pickup lines. Chi's ears turned red visibly. Just as I was about to reach out and tease him, a sneer came from behind. The window of the Porsche on the side of the road rolled down, and Zhou Yang leisurely propped his forehead. Gigi, have you had enough of this tantrum for so many days? Do you think you can make me jealous by casually finding a man? He glanced at Chi's back and sneered, and he's such an unremarkable man. Come back with me and apologize to Sister Jing. Be good, go to hell. I picked up the ketchup on the table and squirted it all over his head and face. If you lick it clean obediently, I'll apologize. Zhou Yang cared about his face, with ketchup all over his head and face and being watched by people. He didn't have time to wipe off the mess and quickly rolled up the car window. More and more people were watching the scene. Chi and I pursed his lips and left without saying a word. I trotted after him. No matter how much I called him, he ignored me. To avoid me, he went into the restroom. I chased after him. Chi's eyelids twitched. This is the men's restroom. Then will you come to the women's restroom with me? He ignored my humor and said in a cold voice, Qingzi, I won't go to the hospital with you. And you don't need to worry about my business. But I insist on taking care of it. Chi and I was silent for a few seconds. When he raised his eyes, there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. That night, it was just a deal of money and sex. Don't think too much about it. I held back the urge to punch him. I tasted the sex. Did you take the money, or do you? Student Chi and I want to do monthly settlement. He was speechless. Even his fair neck turned pink. Just as I was about to tease him a few more words, the sound of footsteps came from outside. Chi and I was quick-eyed and grabbed me into the restroom cubicle. It was a bit dirty. I wrinkled my nose in disgust and grabbed Chi's sleeve. He lowered his eyes and glanced at me, his expression indifferent, but his hand honestly supported my waist. I took the opportunity to step on his shoes, and the top of my head rubbed against his chin. The distance suddenly closed in, and the cold woody fragrance on the boy diluted the smell of the restroom. In the quiet space, the pattering sound of water outside the door was infinitely amplified, accompanied by the man's whistling. Chi and I frowned and raised his hand to cover my ears. Come to the hospital with me. I mouthed the words. Chi and I ignored me. I reached down and used the opportunity to coerce him. Go or not. I exerted a little force on my hand. A low and hoarse groan escaped from his mouth. Damn it. The whistling outside the door stopped. The door panel that Chi and I was leaning against was knocked twice. Dude. Doing handiwork in the restroom during the day, is it that exciting? Meeting Chi's warning gaze, I wickedly clenched my palm. An uncontrollable gasp suddenly came out of the small cubicle. Because of his forbearance, even the blue veins on the back of his hand bulged. Don't you want to go? Don't force me to kiss you here. He tensed his jaw and nodded stiffly. The person outside had already left. My scheme succeeded, and I pulled Chi and I to go out, but he pulled my wrist away. He panicked and averted his gaze. You go out first. I took a look down. Tisk, Student Chi and I, don't do handiwork for too long. It's not good for your health. His face turned completely black. Hee. It's really fun to tease my husband. 10. Just to be on the safe side, I made an appointment for a full set of physical examinations. Looking at the long list of examinations, Chi and I frowned resistantly. Why do I need to have so many examinations? Of course, I couldn't say that I was afraid he had cancer. I threw a flirtatious glance at him. To be my man, of course, you need to maintain good health. Qingzi, I'm not, he retorted coldly. Student Chi and I, do you like bed play? If you don't want me to kiss you in the hospital, then shut up and have the examinations obediently. Chi's eyes widened slightly, as if he was shocked. When we walked through the corridor, he suddenly stopped. Qingzi, don't you ever, so talkative. I impatiently pushed him into the small room next to us. I pressed him against the door panel, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him, until the heartbeat under my palm became more and more intense. This was dangerous. I was even afraid that he would die of a sudden heart attack. When I pulled away from his lips, he instinctively opened his mouth and leaned forward to chase after me. After realizing what he had done, Chi's face turned extremely ugly. He raised his hand to cover my eyes, and his palm was trembling. Don't look. The 19-year-old Chi and I had as thin as paper. After being kissed, he became obedient. He didn't say a word for the whole day until the examinations were over. The examination results were not good. There were more than a dozen polyps in Chi's stomach, and it was difficult to determine their nature. We can only remove them and do a pathological examination. Is there a family history of the disease? The doctor asked. Both my grandfather and grandmother died of gastric cancer. Qingyi's eyes were empty, and it was unknown what he was thinking. The doctor's eyes showed pity. You should be hospitalized and have them removed as soon as possible. Qi and I didn't cooperate at all. He had just been admitted to the hospital, and the next day he tried to escape from prison, but I caught him red-handed. I was angry at his indifferent attitude towards his own body. Qi and I, if you keep treating your body like this, I won't like you anymore. I threw the instant noodle box into the cabinet and then placed the nutritious breakfast I brought neatly on the table. It was only when a spoon was stuffed into his hand that Qi and I seemed to come back to his senses. He was all flustered and irritable. Chengzi, are you being too confident? Who wants your affection? The 29-year-old Qi and I was gentle and open-minded and would never attack people with mean words. A sick person is always particularly vulnerable. I sighed inwardly and didn't intend to argue. Qi and I threw the spoon back into the bowl. The boiling soup splashed onto my arm, and a patch of skin turned red instantly. Qingyi's face paled a bit, and he averted his gaze. His tone was stiff and cold. Miss Jing likes to serve others so much. Why don't you apply for a job as a nurse in the hospital? This was the first time I had heard Qi and I speak sarcastically to me. My arm stung with pain, but it couldn't compare to the discomfort in my chest. I sneered. Qi and I, don't make me angry. As if deliberately going against me, he took out the instant noodles and poured warm water over them. The noodles hadn't even soaked properly, and he ate them quickly and impatiently. I turned around and left. At noon, the nurse called and said that Qi and I had just left the hospital and didn't say where he was going. Did he have instant noodles for lunch again? I asked. Before he left, he finished all the breakfast Miss Jing brought. Did he heat it up? No, I don't know why, but I felt even more uncomfortable. I would rather he had eaten hot instant noodles. Qi and I had always been thrifty in his life. In my previous life, the first time he took me into the empty villa, I thought it was his idle property and that he planned to hide his lover in a luxurious house. Later, I learned that this was his home. The villa had 3 floors in total. What belonged to Qi and I was only a guest bedroom without a balcony and a small study. There were only a few clothes of his in the closet. The second and third floors were my dressing room, cloakroom, audiovisual room, tea room. The entire villa was filled with my things, and occasionally I would feel embarrassed. I asked Qi and I if I was being a bit too much. I didn't have the slightest awareness of being a kept woman. Qi and I, who was looking at the documents, was stunned for a moment. He slowly took off his frameless glasses, and his black eyes were filled with a gentle smile. Miss, this is your home, he said in a deep voice, more like a coaxing murmur. Even if you go a bit further, it's not too much. Sigh, my good husband, why does he have such a long rebellious adolescence? 11. Qi and I didn't go back to school. According to the address given by his roommate, I found his residence. I knocked a few times, but no one answered. The door had a combination lock. I casually entered my birthday, and the door opened. Qi and I wasn't at home. The house was decorated in a cold and simple style, with only black, white, and gray colors. The furniture and furnishings were even more shabby. A familiar pink color peeked out from beside the pillow. I pulled it out and took a look. Sure enough, it was a diary. The diary of the 19-year-old Qi and I. It's not very moral to peek at someone else's diary, so while feeling repentant, I eagerly opened it. It was 99% similar in content to the one in my room. The only difference was that in my previous life, Qi and I had no interaction during our university days, so at most, he would just write a few awkward sentences occasionally. I saw the young lady again, and my heart is beating so fast. I had a dream about her. I'm about to explode with pent-up feelings. And on the latest page of this diary, the handwriting was intermittent and shaking like wavy lines. He wrote, I finally belonged to the young lady. The marked date was the night at the bar. I felt like laughing. He was really as shyly flirtatious as ever. For 10 years, there was a safe beside the bed that didn't match the shabby room at all. I could enter the password with my eyes closed. When I saw what was inside, tears welled up in my eyes first. It was a will. The black characters on the white paper were all too familiar. Qi and I, whose parents had both passed away and had to work part-time to earn his tuition fees since he was a teenager, must have worked so hard to earn so much money. 2 million yuan was probably all his assets. Just like in my previous life, he left everything to me. I wiped away my tears and opened the letter left for me. Chengzi, I don't have any other intentions. I was taken care of by your parents in high school. Consider this money as my repayment. You can dispose of it as you like. Don't think too much about it. The date was last night. I suddenly realized, these past few days, I had been rejoicing that as long as Chi and I had the surgery, he could stay healthy and accompany me until old age. But the 19-year-old Chi and I didn't know that fear is a human instinct. He would be afraid of suffering from a terminal illness like his grandparents. He wasn't the Mr. Chi who could strategize in the business world 10 years later. I should have been more patient. What's the harm in coaxing him a bit more? He was already feeling so bad. I couldn't wait to fly to Chimi's side immediately. Just as I was about to close the safe, my eyes were attracted by the white bedsheet at the bottom layer. I took a few more glances and saw that the bedsheet label had the logo of a hotel pasted on it. Did Chi and I bring back the bedsheet from the hotel that night? I couldn't even bear to look at it. I quickly locked the safe and fled the room with a burning face. You shy little pervert. 12. During the few days when Chi and I was preparing for the surgery, I became the most diligent student in his major. I took full class notes for every class. I asked Chimi's roommate to send them back to the dormitory. After a few times, the boys couldn't hold back and asked me what my relationship with Chi and I was. I smiled. I've had a crush on Chi and I for a long time. The few of them were so shocked that their mouths could fit an egg. Under my brainwashing day after day, when Chi and I was discharged from the hospital and returned to school, his world was turned upside down. Almost everyone knew that the school hump Chi and I had a fanatical admirer. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I stood downstairs in the boys' dormitory. Chi and I had no choice but to say,